I gotta pee. Not even fucking kidding.
Welcome to Damn Good Average Podcast episode 12, and here's your host, Dustin Caps.
What's going on, everybody? Be right back.
Ready to rock, bro. You're live.
Oh shit! I thought you were kidding. Oh, did you know he was serious?
No, I didn't.
Okay, at least it wasn't. I thought he was okay.
A little lighthearted.
Sweet.
Well, I totally thought he was kidding. But welcome to the Damn Good Average Bowler Podcast, episode X2.
That's 12 for everybody.
Yes, sir. So we got both cameras ready. We got YouTube and the Talk of Tick ready to go.
Tick.
Boom.
Hey, look, Curtis is in the chat.
All right, what's up, Curtis? How you doing, bud? We hope you're feeling okay. Feeling better, still alive.
Sorry I ran you off, Curtis.
But we are here for you, bud.
Oh, man.
All right, well, the man who is currently behind the cameras, who got us started off, got them both going.
Okay.
Entering frame now, help me welcome our pillar of knowledge, our local pro, and very own CEO, Coach Michael Price. What's going on, Coach?
Johnny.
What's up,
All right,
Mike?
buddy. Hey, have at it, bud. Thing's getting unruly.
It's so fettered and lethal.
That's right.
It's been in my vision now for so long, like it's become a part of my just view. It's weird. It was weird at first.
I just want to say this. I will be checking back there every once in a while because, like Curtis is under the weather right now. Curtis, we hope you feel better, but I will be doing the checking, so it's all you, my friend.
And also, speaking of checking, can we get some sound checks, please? How can you guys hear us? Because the way we're working tonight is Johnny and I are both mic'd for both. Michael is not mic'd, so he's going to be pushing that voice out when he needs to, but we'll also be moving mics around. But if you go ahead and let us know. Curtis, how's it sound, bud?
He says you guys look great.
Thank you.
Says you guys look great, though, but I feel terrible.
Okay, well, that's
Sorry, buddy.
It's kind of like standard, though, really, right?
Yeah, really.
I'm just kidding, Curtis. We love you. I mean, I always feel like
I
crap.
feel like I should invite him in to be like the voice on here. Just so
Yeah.
There you go.
If he's up for it.
Yeah.
See if he is.
I hate it when I'll join one of Michael's lives at night, and he always wants to invite me in. I'm like, bro, I just want to be in the chat.
Yeah, I just want to sit.
So if he wants to stay in the chat, you're fine. But if not, come on in, dude. Let's hear that.
Okay.
Let's hear that near-death voice.
I don't think he's coming in.
Nah, probably not
He'll
now.
give us that
Well,
sultry
Well,
voice.
while
Yeah.
people can hear me close, by the way, on TikTok, we wouldn't mind give us a like to the live, and like I said, like, follow, subscribe. TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, IG. My buddy Bo is in here. Hey, Bo.
What's up, Bo?
Man in the middle is Mr. Dustin Caps, and our guest man of the hour, Tower of Power, too sweet to be sour, is our good buddy Jonathan Burttram.
What's going on, people?
And Butchie, you're in here. Shattered, welcome in. So if I don't acknowledge y'all like I normally do, it's because I'm over here and I'm having to come back and check everything. So, yeah, Curtis said I'll jump on in a few. He's still back and forth in the bathroom.
Oh, that's
Oh,
always
boy.
fun.
All right, so I cannot see what you guys are saying. So if you got any questions, put them on here. I'll go back and look as soon as I can. Okay. And I'm
You
gonna try
are,
to.
you are fast.
I
I
know.
never saw a fast roll before like that. You seen that?
You haven't
I
seen
did.
Lightning.
Athletic.
So you haven't seen a 270-pound man be that quick. Yeah.
Like a cat.
Yeah.
Welcome to the episode. I think we got a really good one today. With scheduling, we've been trying to get this guy on, almost since we started
Yeah.
the podcast. So almost a full year we've been trying to get you on.
It's been a while.
And when Mike first said your name about, and we'll get to why we get you on now, but the scheduling, you know, he'd throw your name out there like, oh, he just did this. You know, let's have him on, talk about it. I'm like, why? Why haven't we had him on yet? was literally my first response when you said that. And then, of course, it was like, well, scheduling, we'd already been working on it. Couldn't get your schedule, our schedule, this and that. But let's just start with the reason we were able to get you on this time. You had an incredible night a couple weeks ago.
I did. Yeah, that was a nutty night. We'll just say that. Yeah.
So it was a nutty night. Was it league? Take us through the night. Just what, like, kind of going there, how it went, what happened, and then how you felt during.
Yeah, so a couple weeks ago in league, had an interesting start to the night. It was a league night. It was a Monday. Actually getting here was a nightmare. Traffic was terrible. I had to call my teammates and tell them I was running behind. Didn't know if I was going to make it on time or not. Ended up making it here. Got to throw a couple practice shots. and then kind of just jumped straight in the league. And amazingly, somehow, had the best night of my life. Shot 247 the first game, and then shot back-to-back 300s. So I ended up with an 847 for the evening, and that 847 included 30 in a row to finish. So that was a once-in-a-lifetime type of thing that I look at, almost retirement worthy.
So tell us what you mean by retirement worthy.
Retirement worthy for me is if ever I am privileged enough to shoot 900, that will be it for me in bowling. There's nothing left to accomplish, and I will say thank you very much to this game and walk away a happy man.
I think most of our following probably we all understand the 900. 900 is still kind of a new thing for me. I didn't even know that was real, right?
Yeah.
Until a seminar I went to last year. So tell us real quick. I want to emphasize on how big that is. How many? So for a 900, that's obviously 300 games in a row.
Correct.
That's your 900.
Yep.
How many strikes for a 900? 36 strikes, right?
Yep.
36 strikes in a row.
Yeah.
You had 30 in a row.
30 in a row. Yep.
You were 6 away from retirement, man.
I was 6 away from retirement, and actually I subbed the following league night in Decatur, and I had 4 in a row. And I told the people that I was subbing with that night, I said, guys, I'm on 30. If I throw the front 6, I might pack my stuff up and go home and just carry it over.
Yeah.
And the bowling guys wouldn't let me have it. I threw a 7-10 in the pocket on my 5th shot, and then I struck the 6th when I was like, well, I guess I'm stuck here for a while.
I just can't fathom yet 30 in a row. Like, I'm still 6-bagger is my biggest right now.
So to be honest with you, it's interesting you bring that up because I didn't think about it as 30 in a row when it was happening at all. So you asked kind of how the night went. I was running the high game pot as well. So I had other things that were taking up my mind that night.
Yeah.
So I'm running around getting scores and paying people money for their high game and doing this and that. So that kind of had my mind off of it. And obviously it had been a little while since I shot a 300. It had been a couple months. So shooting a 300 was nice. That kind of got the monkey off my back.
Yeah.
And then going into the last game, I don't ever think about shooting back-to-back 300s or how many strikes I have in a row. But I was just throwing the ball pretty decent that night, and so I just kept throwing it. And then my teammates and other people that were watching were just kept chirping in my ear, talking shit from the back. But it was good because it was lighthearted banter that made me actually not even really think about it until I literally got to the 10th frame of the third game and was like, wow, I could actually throw back-to-back 300s here. So, yeah, it was a good night.
Yeah.
You're talking about going around getting everybody scored and handing them money. He's talking about paying himself.
Oh, I did pay myself, but there were other people that got money that night too.
The first game, yes.
Yeah, that would be yours truly, CEO, Mr. Michael Price over
He could
here.
have took my first game score. He could have retired.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because I shot 3.
Yeah. Y'all could have retired together.
I'm trying to protect myself here, y'all. So just letting you guys know, I have to talk a little loud. I don't have a mic because, I'm not cool.
You are cool. You're
cool.
too cool for mics.
No.
We're the nerds that have to be mic'd up.
Correct.
Cool.
Yeah.
Chill. Cool.
Oh man, well that's you told me about that. That's freaking incredible, man.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of come back to that and we'll talk about more elements from that. That's just so ridiculous though. 30 in a row.
Insane.
That Bob Learn Jr. seminar I went to last year, I took the boys, right? And it was 2 regional bowlers. Wes, do you remember Wes's name? But when Bob introduced him, no.
Okay.
No. He was like, yeah, so-and-so, he just bowled a 900 last season. That's the first time I'd ever heard.
Wesley Lowe.
Wesley Lowe. Okay,
Wesley
yeah.
Lowe.
That's the first time I've ever heard of a 900.
Yeah.
So, like, seriously, I'm sitting there looking at this kid like,
Huh? Yeah.
like I wanted to just kind of like touch him. You know what I mean? One of those things, just like, how did you did? Oh.
Yeah. Yep. Give me some of that energy.
Yeah. For real.
Yeah.
It's so, I'm still in that mode where it's boggling to me.
Yeah.
So that's impressive as heck, man. Gosh, what we're gonna do now? Let's go over the state of DGAB or Damn Good Average Bowlers. See what's going on in that world because we got lots and lots of stuff going on in there and ever expanding.
Borrow your mics.
You may. Which one? You want them both?
I'll hold one in one hand and one in the other. I don't care. All right, so just to let you guys know, scratch sweepers are coming back. I finally finalized the schedule with West today. So we're going to be coming back on November 24th. It's going to be nothing but recreational patterns this time.
Boo.
Which means
Yeah, I
house
was
shots.
gonna ask about that.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of booze to it, but I mean,
Boo, but also good.
Yeah.
Was there a reasoning behind it? I don't mean to get ahead of you.
He's the general manager, and he told me
Oh,
what I
that's
can and
Wes's
can't
call.
do. Yeah,
Really?
that was his call. So I was like, okay, cool, no problem. But it's still an opportunity. It's scratch. So there is no handicap because you know how I feel about handicap, and we're going to leave it at that.
I'm out.
Another thing is we've been trying to do lives on Sunday night for the league. I know we wasn't live last week, but most of that was. I'm going to take the blame on that because the last 2 weeks I bowled the first game, couldn't bowl the next two because my knee gave out on me. I felt like it was about to.
Real quick, yeah.
And when that feeling like it slips, it does not feel good, and it's something I haven't felt in a really long time. My wrist hurts regardless because I have arthritis and I'm an old man, and that's fine. Whatever the case may be, I'll have to deal with that. But when my knee went, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to try this. But then the next week, I got through 2 games. I told Curtis, I said, well, between both weeks, I have completed 1 week, and I've only been absent for 1. So that's what we got going there. We're still going to try to do those. Like I said, the odd weeks, Dustin is going to be mic'd up. We'll still be doing like a dual broadcast with his TikTok, my TikTok, split screens and everything. And before anybody says anything, no, I have not shot any more 300s or 800s on there. I know.
I'll come back to you on that.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of given a couple of new nicknames I want to share too. So TikTok faithful out there started calling me Mike Nolan. Started calling me Mike Nolan because of how hard I throw the ball.
Yep.
So yeah. So the damn good average bowler is also now known as Mike Nolan.
Sweet.
Where did Nolan come from?
Nolan Ryan.
Okay,
Nolan
I was
Ryan.
going to say he's my favorite. You know this already. I don't know if you know this. Nolan Ryan's my favorite player.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. We didn't talk about this before.
Yeah.
It was actually
That's awesome.
JRez73 Jeff. He's like, yeah, Mike Nolan out here just throwing the damn heat,
Bro.
And then Sox got on there. He called me up. He saw me throw that night. I went 297, 300.
Yeah.
I think he called me. It was either that one or the 1 week after. He's like, forget about the curveball, Ricky. Give him the heater. So he knows how that is. But in Sox's defense, it's like every single time I see a video of him, he's bowling a 300.
He's always doing something great.
Yeah, he's always rolling a 300 in a sweeper. So there you go, Sox. I just wish I could.
Love you, buddy.
Yeah, I wish I could be. I want his youth again. Like I want the youth. And that's another thing I'm going to say this too, as a little State of the Union. I can beat Andrew Delgado, but Nicholas Delgado is my kryptonite right now. Because the last 2 times I have faced Nicholas Delgado, I have lost. He has put together 730, 740, and I can't put up 640 to save my life against him.
How does he do it?
Well, I don't know.
Little Nicky, man.
Well, here's the thing. I did take half a point. I did tie with him last Monday night and I had to shoot 269 for that. Ooh. So, Nicholas, your 3 handicap sticks, you kiss my ass with it. I'm just going to be, that in a good Christian way, by the way.
Oh, of course.
But no, we got that going. So the odd weeks are going to be for you. The even weeks are going to be for Curtis and I. And then the last thing on the State of the Union, I did. They've heard me. I know, but I just I want to show.
Yeah,
it too.
For sure. Yeah.
Patches. We got stinking patches.
Patches.
Yeah, but it's been well received. I've sent quite a few out there on TikTok, but we're going to sell them for $8. And the other surprise, when I give you the mics back, I'm going to let you tell them because this was your idea and your baby, and I'm all here for it.
Which the patches are yours. You get all the credit for the patches.
Yeah. Well, again, I'll take the patches. I'm going to let you tell them.
Okay.
But we got that stuff coming. That's going to be really cool. You guys are going to want that. It's going to be, all I'm going to say is going to be great stocking stuffers since we're coming up on holiday season.
I like it.
So, so I'll let you take care of that. And the biggest thing I can show you is I don't know if you can roll your arm up here.
It'd be real hard to get to right now.
Yeah. But we reached our 100 subscribers on TikTok. And as promised, Curtis and Dustin both got their DGAP tattoos. So I know you guys have seen the pictures. I've shared them on stories. I did the YouTube shorts. I did the highlight videos. And again, rocking and rolling. The brand is rocking on, and the support has been absolutely tremendous. And I just want to take a little bit of time. And Curtis, if you're listening, I hope you are, and you're here. I said it in my Facebook post. I want to say it publicly. For you to, I mean, just the idea of it, and then it actually getting brought to life, and it actually happening. Like, it's one of those things where you're like, nah, like this ain't really gonna happen. And then all of a sudden it did happen.
It's not really gonna do it, are
Yeah,
they?
no, but then they did. No, but then y'all did it. Which, I mean, I wasn't doubting y'all weren't
Yeah,
gonna
I
do
know
it.
what you mean.
But what I'm saying is, it's like I took a little sense of there's a little emotion there, and I say that because it's like, holy mother of God, like 2 people put my logo on their bodies permanently. And, you know, I was at home and my mom, she was like, you know, you okay? And I was like, I'm just thinking about, like, I got 2 guys out here that put my logo on their body that went through 3 to 5 hours of a session, because you got yours colored. And not that it, you know, Curtis didn't, not, but you get what I'm saying. But it's just the fact that having that kind of, and not that anybody else hasn't been very supportive, because we all have in our way, whether you bought a hat, a jersey, a shirt, you know, or a patch or whatever, but a freaking tattoo. I mean, here's the deal, and y'all ain't never going to see me get any ink, because when it comes to needles, I'm a bitch. I've said it time and again. I've said it to everybody in the lives and everything, so we know that. But no, just, there was just like, something came over me. It was like I was kind of halfway between, wow, they actually did it, versus, damn, wow, they got my logo on them now. I just didn't know how to think. I kind of got choked up a little bit by it. It really just, it means the world to me that, like, you guys have kind of helped me in so many regards. And we've had people on, and we got Jonathan on, and we've done this podcast, and we're doing Calling All Bowlers. And that makes me think of one other thing too.
Yes, please.
I wanted to tell you here, because it's live.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. No, but coming up on Saturday, November 9th, I am actually going to be bringing back Calling All Bowlers episode 15.
Awesome.
Sweet.
With Miss Gloria. Miss
Nice.
Gloria is from Florida. She knows Brian. You know, we talking about Brian. Oh, we actually got the, I haven't heard, I don't know if he's on here right now, but we did get the canvas sent to him. So Brian, if you're on here, let us know if you got it. And but we're going to be doing that at 6:30, excuse me, Central Time, with Miss Gloria. And Miss Gloria is going to come on there and talk to us about her very first 300 game.
Awesome.
That'll be sweet.
Yeah.
She just shot her very first 300 game.
Nice.
And another thing,
Yep. Congrats.
a cool thing about, you'll like this because you're a Bulls fan, right?
Yep.
She used to be a cheerleader from 98 to 2003. And I actually saw her.
Go
picture on
Miss
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like legit. And I was like, dude, that's
awesome.
So, because we got a Bulls fan right there, you know. And
I mean, I'm a fan of cheerleaders.
yes, yeah. Well, there you go. You'll
Me
be
too.
watching. You guys will be tuned in Saturday, November 9th at 6:30 Central Time for that one. But that right there, and just, you know, we're keeping on, and, you know, again, like I said, you guys got the tats. I am so incredibly thankful that, you know, I've got you guys helping me with the direction of the brand. I've got everybody else with their outpouring of support, and, you know, I've got, like I said, I got Johnny here, and I got other people. I do have other people here locally that do support the brand, and I am very appreciative of. So just thank you guys. And I'm said way too much, too quickly, and everything. But I'm going to pass these mics back and give it to the man right here. That's pretty much my State of the Union. And I'm going to go check and see if we've got any questions, and then we're going to get right in there with Mr. Burttram.
Oh yeah, we haven't even. I feel like we haven't really started the episode yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Michael, thank you for your kind words.
Yes,
sir.
And I know that Curtis and I are helping you with this because we feel like it's because you deserve it. You know what I mean? Like, we are on board with what you're doing. And you,
if I can, I was gonna say, when Mike was talking, Mike doesn't give himself a lot of praise. He doesn't give himself enough credit.
Yep.
He has done a lot for the bowling community here. So the fact that this is doing as well as it is, that is a testament to all of you guys. And I know that he does appreciate it, but we appreciate him too.
Yes.
We appreciate you very much, Mike. So keep up the good work.
absolutely. Yeah. And it's kind of funny, just to close out, you had said, like, oh my gosh, these guys are actually doing it. That's kind of really when I started helping him, because we had met in the pro shop last summer, started talking, And then you're like, yeah, I wanted. It was kind of a lot of wants, things that you were wanting to do.
Mhm.
But I think at that point you already had the concept of the hot sauce spare challenge.
Yeah.
And I think you had the concepts for the strike and spare derbies.
Yes.
Yeah, I had the ideas on paper, but the podcast was the most important.
Yeah,
right.
thing. I just really,
You knew you wanted to.
yeah, I just didn't have like, and the thing about it is, we're coming up on our 1 year anniversary.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's going to be a highlight of that is when you and Curtis Curtis had to work, you were sick, and I had to go solo by myself. And I was absolutely freaking blind. That was probably our shortest podcast of like 35 minutes because I looked at Curtis came, bless his heart, he came in here one time when he had a break or something, and he goes, "Well, how's it going?" I said, "I think we're done. I think we're good. Appreciate it, guys. Okay, see you later." So the episode 4 was probably like the shortest episode we've ever done.
Well, that's all right. We could keep talking about this all day, but again, on that, I want to say something, right? Like, and again, just to add on to what you were saying, go with what you were saying, how appreciative we are, but also behind the scenes, like, he came, like, one of the main things behind calling all bowlers was so you could get better at hosting. You know what I mean? He wants to get better at it. So he sets up another thing, and it's like, well, hey, I'm going to get better by doing it.
Yeah.
But that's what brought me on board. I'm almost done. Let me say this is my point, and then we'll move on. But that's what brought me on board last year. You already know this, I've told you a million times, but we had talked and everything, and he was talking about the hot sauce challenge. Well, then after league one night, like, he's doing it, setting up and doing it. You know what I mean? Running extension cord all over, like 80 feet of extension cord to plug into this, to try that, and the duct tape down.
That's because I had an old iPhone 6S.
But I said the same thing like you did about the tats. I was like, oh, this dude's actually doing it. Because I think especially these days, everybody just runs their mouth.
A lot of
A lot of talk, no action, right? So there was the talk, and then I saw the action. I'm like, oh, shit, bet, let's go, dude.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, this guy's going to do it, then let's do it. And we have so much backlog, kind of what you were saying. We have so much going on that we're working on getting to, and other people coming in. Like we said, it took us almost a year to be able to get you in. And again, the things go to like, well, thank you for continuing to talk to us.
Yeah.
To keep following up to see when you can get on. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
I will say this: the move to doing these on Saturday night has been so much better.
I agree.
It's been so much better because we can take our time and stuff. Like on Sundays, we kind of felt like we put ourselves on deadlines anyway for these shows, but we kind of felt like it was a little bit rushed. And when it feels rushed, it doesn't feel authentic. And when it doesn't feel authentic, it doesn't feel genuine. And I can keep on connecting words and words.
Yeah,
and
no,
words.
for sure. Just with that, we did just wrap up finally season 2 of the Hot Sauce Bear Challenge.
Yes.
We've wrapped that up, and then
I will also tell you too, I am still trying to work on Joel. Duel.
Oh man.
And the next thing we came up with, this was your idea. He came up with the smelling salts challenge.
No thanks. No thanks. I still want to do the hot sauce spare challenge. No smelling salts.
You would do hot sauce over smelling salts?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yes. I love hot and spicy stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right up my alley.
That's
I might miss a spare on purpose to eat it.
well. That's
Like-
why. That's why when I did it, I did season 1 of episode 2. I think that's how we started.
Season 2, episode
Thank
1.
you. A little dyslexia, middle-aged dyslexia. But when I showed my whole,
I can't put the bird on
don't worry, nobody's listening. Anyway.
Well, of course, you know where that movie reference is from.
But my whole perspective for that was like, I'm showing up to do a hot sauce sampling.
Yeah.
Even if I make it,
Yeah.
I'm trying.
I'm still trying.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So that I was there for a sampling of hot sauces. That's why I try to pitch that to people at the beginning. Like,
Yeah.
well, you could just do it as like, you could just try them out anyway. But oh man, we did, just to finish up with this state of DGAB. A lot of you know, you got to see it last week when we premiered Damn Good After Dark.
Yep.
Which we actually only got halfway through that in like 2 hours. Until pretty much my service dropped. Dude, like I said before the show, I live out towards Arab.
Yeah.
I'm in Union Grove technically. And we had trouble today. The Alabama game froze up on us today before we even left. So it's like the service out there is real sketchy. It's temperamental. I think that's what you guys were asking. Was it a spot in the house? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, the house is a bitch when it wants to be. You know what I mean? Like, pardon my French.
Yep.
But not a-hole. But so we will be finishing episode 1, really, of Damn Good After Dark. The general consensus has been the three of us, I think, speaking for us, we all had a blast. I think we really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And it seems like everybody who got to watch some of it, any of it, all of it, has enjoyed it. So we are very excited about that and already working on trying to wrap up episode 1 to get to episode 2. But thank you everybody for that. And the last thing on this date is the merch drop that Mikhail was referring to earlier. They're going to be DGAB shot glasses.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. You got to see them before the show?
I did. I like them.
Yeah.
Yep. I like them, and it fits in with another thing that I like very much, which is liquor. So,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll be having a few of those.
Yeah. And all types of one. I bet they look good. You can take a shot of eggnog on them.
Yeah.
You know, holidays coming up. A little bit of spice. Ooh, spiced rum.
Yeah.
You do spiced rum. So what's your favorite liquor?
That's hard to say. It depends on my mood. So
Exactly what I was gonna say.
yeah, I'm a bourbon guy. That's what I like to drink most of the time, bourbon or tequila, and I do sip it. I don't shoot it,
Okay.
but I will shoot pretty much anything. with
Can, but
anybody.
usually don't.
I usually don't.
Right.
I'm a sipper.
Funny story about liquor here, okay? I think it was Curtis. If you're still here, you can back me up on this or tell me if I told it wrong. But there was one night, it was his birthday. It was Friday night.
Oh, shots of scotch.
Yeah.
Oh,
You went
that's
out,
I've done
He
that
got
one.
a shot of scotch. Curtis just shot it.
Yep.
And Kevin Harris, our good buddy, went up to him and was like, Curtis, you sip scotch. You don't shoot it. And basically, Curtis came in the next day and said, oh, I feel like garbage. So, yeah, there you go.
Scotch is I've done that when I was younger because it tasted so bad. I just wanted the booze in my body.
Yeah.
I didn't want to taste it. Oh man, Scotch is definitely that's one of those that is an acquired taste.
That's
to
an
me.
acquired
taste. Man, we can talk about liquor all day, but back on track. The DGAB shot glasses or shotties, I like to call them. I like the design if they come out how they look because it is pretty much the original, the OG Harry. So it'll go very well with the jersey and the rest of the line for the OG line, I think. And they fit great in stockings for some stocking stuffer ideas.
Holiday
Shot
ideas.
Just saying.
Get them for the new year, so that way you got something to take your shots with at the ball drop.
Oh yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Champagne flutes were yesteryear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
This year it's DGAB shot glasses
That's
for
right.
champagne shots. We're taking shots, baby. Flutes are last year. Oh man. Okay. So coming back to again, we're finally able to get you on the show with us. Very excited about it. We talked about so that was your PR. That's your best night ever. Was your 847.
that is my best night. Yes.
Okay. So we'll just start off kind of easy. We'll work into it. How many 300? You guys kill me because you're like, yeah, it's been a couple months since my last 300, so needed to toss one real quick,
Gotta have something to get the confidence back up,
I love to bust his balls about that.
Oh,
too,
yeah.
So it's now I'm.
I do the same.
Yeah.
I do the same thing with him.
So how many 300s do you have? How many 800s do you have, if any? And then to you, which one of those is kind of more important or means more?
He at least has one.
At least one of both, or two of one. No, so I'm bad about this. I don't really keep up with my 300s and 800s. I think Mike checked it for me. I think it's at 30.
No, you did.
Yeah, I think he checked it for me. I think is it 16?
That sounds right. I think.
I was gonna say I was thinking 13, 14, somewhere in there. I have a couple.
Your other two.
I have a couple that are not in sanctioned events, but they were bowled at tournaments. So I've got probably close to 20 300s, and I have two 800s, and that's it. So both 800, both 800s are pretty good 800s. My other one is an 831. And that night I had a 299 and a 300 to start the night. So yeah.
How long ago was that one?
It was 23 of the first 24. And I started the third game with the front three, so it was that was a pretty crazy night.
How long ago was that?
That was 2019.
Okay.
That was 5 years ago. So to get to that, you asked the question of which one means more to me. 800s mean a lot more to me because not to sound backwards or off about it, but you can get a little bit lucky and you can shoot a 300. I have. I've had some games where I've bowled decently well, but not great. And I've had some stuff really go my way, and I shot a 300.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens. And I will take those all day long because you need those sometimes because in order to get the 800, you need the stuff to go your way.
Yes.
But you also have to be throwing the ball well. And that's why 800s mean more to me. So I was obviously much happier with I'm always much happier with big sets than I am with like one good game.
Right.
I have thrown a 300 in a series before and shot 660, and I went home pissed off.
Yeah.
Because the other two games were so bad that the 300 just didn't mean that much. So,
Buddy McFluffy in this video says, I could not agree more with your statement about 800s.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I tell a lot of people about 800s is, to me, they mean a lot more. When you see somebody do that, that's incredible because obviously they have to throw the ball well, but you're also going to get some lucky breaks in there. You're going to get some pin carry. You're going to have that one ball that you threw like a fluff that just barely got back, or that you threw Brooklyn. And in the 847 series, I had one that I threw dead Brooklyn, in the middle of that big string of 30. Somewhere in the middle of it, I threw one that went dead Brooklyn and off my hand. I hated it. And I turned around and looked at everybody and said, well, I just yanked that one 20 boards to the left, and somehow it just held and knocked them out. That would have been the end of my streak, but somehow everything fell. You need that sometimes.
My first 800, I had 27 in a row.
Yeah.
I went, and here's the funny thing about that is I started the day off with the 10 pin. Then I go 27 in a row.
Oh, man.
And then I chop a 3-6, so it's open. 27, open.
Wow.
And then I split in the 8th. I strike in the 9th, and this is when the screen where it was in Madison.
Yeah.
And they showed you like where your score was currently.
Yeah.
And of course, stupid me, I'm like, oh, where am I at? Oh, 770. I just got to throw 3 in a row in the 10th to shoot 8. And the first one was dead broken off my hand. It went,
It makes a lot of sense what you were saying though, the 300 versus 8s, because the first thing that popped in my mind was like a baseball comparison.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember you play baseball or anything, but
I played recreationally as a kid.
Could hit like it will be the same as like throwing 300 versus 8. You could have, say that you had a solo home run in a game.
Mm-hmm.
You're like 1 for 4 at batting.
Yep.
You had 1 solo home run, 1 RBI, and then you whiffed. You struck out the 3 other times.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But then the 800, kind of how you explained, that's more almost like hitting for the cycle.
Yeah.
And your home run was a grand slam.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's like, that's so, yeah, for sure. So that makes perfect sense to me.
Victor says 800 means you're seeing the lane really well all night.
Which you
True.
said,
I
yeah.
personally told Victor he needed to not miss this episode. I said because when you hear Jonathan talking, it's going to be like he's hearing himself talk.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with you. You're seeing the lane well. And it also, one thing that I tell a lot of bowlers too, because people ask me about what I look for, just as a little side tangent, what I look for in a bowling ball when I'm throwing it, and just being honest, because I'm not a robot, I'm not perfect. None of us that bowl are perfect. I look for the ball that gives me the most miss room. And if you're seeing the lane well and you have the right ball in your hand, who knows what can happen. And that was kind of what that night was for me a couple of weeks ago. It was just the ball was doing what it was supposed to. I had miss room right and left. I'm right-handed, so I had miss room to the outside, but also to the inside. And I saw the lane halfway decently for the first time in, months. So everything came together. Absolutely.
If they called me Mike Nolan, Corey was calling you Johnny Unitas.
Johnny Unitas, yeah.
Johnny Unitas, you can't miss.
I kind of like Nolan Price better though.
Nolan Price.
Nolan
I'll
Price.
take Mike Nolan. I don't care. I understand. I've been called Mike Jones. And
Mike Jones.
Yeah. Every time I
Mike
Jones. There's this one college class I took, and my buddy Willie was in there. He's like, Mike Jones. I'm like, it's 8:30 in the morning.
What is that from like 20 years ago?
Oh, Jesus.
Because I had that on one of my old flip phones. I think I had
that
that
304
as a phone
in
ringer.
there. Yep.
Yeah.
Razor.
Well, I have a question for you on that 847 night. I thought of it earlier, but now it fits again well. I didn't want to interrupt you, but so during that night, like you're seeing the lane well. So I guess describe it to, my level of bowling, like a house bowl or whatever, right? It's much lower than you. Explain it to kind of like people with my experience level and lower, how much you moved. I'm curious to how much you moved in total that night from like where you started to like where you finished up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Seeing the lane well, pattern determines a lot of that. The pattern that we have here at the Palace is a relatively easy pattern. And when I say seeing the lane well, I'm seeing the ball do what I want it to do in the front and also at the break point.
Okay.
That's kind of what I'm looking for, if the ball's making the right shape. And if I'm seeing that, then I consider that I'm seeing the lane well. So that's what I'm more of looking for is the ball to make the shape down the lane. Starting the night off, I was throwing, just for reference sake, I was throwing a Radical Bigfoot hybrid, which is
That just sounds cool.
That is a big cord symmetric ball. And I had it drilled pinned down. So by drilling it pinned down, it kind of makes the shape more even. It's more round. It's not going to be super flippy at the back end. It's not going to be too early rolling. It's just going to give me an overall arc. And I personally like that shape more, and I'm sure we'll get into it a little more as we talk. But doing more tournaments and things like that, I like to see more of an archy shape to my ball going down the lane. It's much easier for me to see what adjustments I need to make, which kind of leads into your point about where I move throughout the night. I started playing the lane pretty straight that night, probably crossing the arrows with the ball at 12 or 13, playing it out to about 7 or 8. And by the end of the night, I was somewhere close to the 4th arrow with the ball. But I kept the ball trapped in front of me all night.
What does trapped in front of you mean? I don't know. What does that mean?
Just playing it straighter.
Okay.
So instead of, a lot of people have this thought in their mind when you bowl that you go through transition that your answer is, for a right-hander, you move left and you throw the ball further to the right. And that's not necessarily always the case. Sometimes it's a good idea based on, and this has a lot to do with what ball you're throwing and how the lane is acting with what you're doing. Sometimes it's a good idea to move left so that way you can catch more of the head oil, but you don't necessarily want the ball to go wide because it might burn up on you early, so it uses all its energy. Or if you throw it out to the dry, it might grab and snap. So sometimes when I say keep it trapped, I just want the ball in front of me. And so when I move left, I wanted the ball to come left with me and not force it too far.
Because the big thing I thought I heard you say there is you can burn up that oil when you don't need to. You don't need to be there, and then if you need to come back to it later, it's gone.
Yeah, that's
in a sense.
That is a possibility, but what I mean more so by if it burns up early is if you move left and you throw the ball too quickly to the right after you've moved left, your ball will see that initial friction. And once it sees it, it uses up its energy. The energy of the ball gets used up in the front. So when you move left, sometimes you want to keep it trapped, especially through the front part of the lane. And that was the case that night. I moved left probably about 5 or 6 boards with my feet. But then again, like I said, I was close to the 4th arrow by the end of the night where the ball was tracking through the front. And that's what I mean by keeping it trapped.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Because I think the way you described it before, like if you move your feet left, you go wider that way. That's kind of like the mentality that's with me. You know what I mean? That's how I know. If I need to fix something, that's the way that I know to try to fix it.
A lot of bowlers too, that's a funny thing. I was very much this way as a beginner bowler. I like to see the ball hook. Everybody wants to see the ball open up and swing. Especially if you watch the pros on TV, they make it look so easy. It's like, I can do that. Yeah, they've got a little bit more training than we do. They're better than we are.
Gosh, those guys.
Yeah, it's insane. But yeah, so it's not always the case that you have to move left and throw it right, or as a lefty move right and throw it left. Sometimes, just do what the ball in the lane tell you.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's tough to learn.
It is.
It's tough to learn.
It is. That's kind of the phase I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Like to where when I'm sure you know Jaeger, a couple of guys try to help me during my league and stuff. They're like, slow your ball. I'm throwing the Black Widow 3.0.
Okay. Yep.
And so they're telling me like, slow down and let the ball work for you.
Correct.
And then I did that I actually was able to do it a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now. But I did it and everything felt smooth with it. And I watched the ball and then I watched it come back and I watched it strike. And I was like, holy crap.
Yep.
But then it's like I forgot how to do it.
Yeah.
Then it's like I lost it, then it was gone.
Yeah. It makes it a lot easier if the ball does the work for you.
Yeah.
But that is a hard thing to learn. That's a hard thing for any bowler to learn, but especially beginners and even I would say, low-level intermediate
Mhm.
type people who have bowled 1 or 2 leagues, it's hard to let the ball work
Yeah.
because you're like, I want it to hook. I know I can make this work. Well, sometimes you don't have to make it work. Just let it work.
Yeah.
Just throw the ball, and the ball will tell you everything you need to know when you watch it. And it takes a little bit of time to learn. You said that's kind of where you're at,
Yeah.
trying to learn to let the ball work, but also what you're trying to see out of it too.
And then it's hard to be confident in the moves that you make.
True.
Because now I'm like, okay, I think I'm supposed to do this, and let's try it. And then it kind of comes back. We've talked to a lot of times about it, Coach, and then I know you're familiar with it too. Because I tell my boys, that are learning, it's like, well, if you're not doing the basics that you're supposed to, if you're not doing the fundamentals, then we can't make an adjustment.
Correct.
So now I'm like, okay, well, I had a back, I freaking top spun it, or
Yeah.
I know I went way out that way. So it's still so hard to get all the fundamentals and just get a good throw to be able to read the lane.
Yeah.
And I think, again, that's what a lot of newer, not to change the subject, but more people at my level, and you hear it all the time in league, like, oh, I'm making a ball change, making a ball change, making a ball change. That's like the fix for almost everything.
Yeah.
For at my level, that's like a safe thing to do.
Yeah.
It's never the bowler.
Correct.
It's always
Yeah.
the ball.
Yes.
I was told, just as an aside, I was told by the guy that funny individual, Richard Smock. Some people will know him in the chat, some won't. Mike knows him. But Richard told me that years ago. He was like, Jonathan, you blame everything else before you blame yourself because
Right.
it makes you feel better as a
yeah.
bowler.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course-
Seriously, it does.
And of course, he was being facetious, but
But it's
but
true.
that is how we as bowlers,
Yeah.
even as you get more advanced, we as bowlers still sometimes do that. We'll bitch, moan, and complain about everything, and then not stop and think.
That maybe it was.
It could be user error.
Yes. Operator error is what we would always
Yep.
say. Like, was it operator error,
Yeah.
or was it the machinery or the ball?
I remember one time when I was getting a lesson, and the guy looked at me, never forget, Bob Montone. He looked at me, he said to straight face, he said, is the problem your ball reaction, or do you just suck?
That's great. That's my kind of coach right there.
And I was like, maybe I'm just having a bad day.
Yep.
Okay. But that's the thing about it. It's like we make it like the game, and I don't know if you guys, Johnny, you agree with me or disagree with me, feel free, whichever. We make the game a lot harder than it has
for
to be.
sure.
100%.
And you know this from when we had Churchy on the show.
TC
Dude,
300, baby.
I'm telling
Yep.
you this right now. Anybody in the state of Alabama, if you're talking about top bowlers in the state, Tony is always at the forefront of the discussion.
Tony's up there. Yep.
And again, my example is it only took me 20 years to out average Tony.
Yeah.
That is, Tony, I am taking that to the grave with me. I may never do it again, but that's okay. I did it one time, and it took me 20 years. But Tony is a mentor.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing about it is straighter is greater, y'all.
Correct.
You don't have to hook the whole entire lane.
I didn't mean. I'm not trying. to
No.
That's
I
one
was at
thing
the stop point.
I was very surprised by you with, and I don't want to say it wrong or anything. That's kind of why I never say it because I don't want to, you know what I mean, say it wrong or whatever. But that's why I was so surprised the first time I watched Tim bowl.
Yeah.
Not only how hard, like, I mean, you come up like boom out of that thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is like the Ryan Express, the high kick,
Mhm.
and then like, foo, and your follow through is like you almost bounce at the end of it.
Mhm.
And what it looks like, I'm just saying what it looks like. It appears to be. That was another covering your ass statement. But it looks like the ball is almost, it takes a straight line at least, almost like
Yeah.
from the right corner, boom, right in the pocket. There, I see no curve at all in your ball. And it's just like, I thought it should be curving.
Yeah.
It's not, it doesn't curve. That bitch don't curve at all.
Yeah.
Because it goes,
But that's much easier. It's a
I would
much,
think so. There's
it's-
less room for error.
there is less room for error. One person, people in the chat will definitely know, and Mike knows, and you probably have heard this name, Norm Duke.
Oh, bro. Dude,
Yeah.
Duke's my favorite. We
Yeah.
watch all the PBA stuff.
Yeah.
Like, dude, he's my favorite.
Dude,
man.
Norm Duke is the epitome of that. The epitome of playing it as straight as possible, as much as he's able to. Him and Walter Ray Williams Jr.
That
both.
man is so
Well,
smart.
Oh yeah,
Here's the cool thing about Norm, though. when Norm has to play it deep, he can get underneath the ball.
He can
and
still do
hook
it.
the whole lane.
Yep.
That is the most. I will take that. I will take that to the grave. Norm Duke is the most versatile player I have ever witnessed on the PBA tour.
I'd agree.
Did you get to meet him?
I have not met Norm.
We'll come back. We're gonna head out any of our stuff. He's one of my favorites, dude.
Yeah.
You can't not love Norm.
Yeah.
You have to be a bad person not like Duke, man.
He has a great attitude toward the game.
Norm Duke is kind of like the Undertaker in wrestling. Nobody has ever had a bad thing to say
Just the man in the
about
back.
either one of them. And I'm going to tell you, like in 2019 when he won those back-to-back titles, which would end up being, his final couple of titles, you just know how much it meant to him because he held that trophy and he even said it in the interview with Kimberly Pressler. He goes, "I may not be here again."
Yeah, I remember that.
And it's one of those things. It's like, and that's the thing about it. We're talking about 300. It's like, I think one of the things that keeps me going personally is I always tell myself when I have the opportunity presents itself and I'm on that string, it's like, you may never be here again.
Yeah.
So make the most of it. And I was more so my first one ever.
Yeah.
At 18, like 20 years ago. And it's the same thing now. Like, because people come up like, Mike, you got 27 now. Is that what it is? It's like, look, if there's ever a moment I'm not going after one that I'm not nervous, then it's time for me to pick up something else.
Correct.
I've said this in previous episodes, but it remains true because it's like the purpose is still there. How you handle the purpose, that could be completely different. Like how I handle it and how Jonathan handles it. And in this case, I believe in you and Curtis, how you guys will handle it when you get there. I know you will.
You will.
It's just, it's a thing. And it's funny you said to your talking about Richard. Richard was the one that pulled me to the side after I shot my sixth one and gave me the stern talking to. And of course, young punk me was like, how dare you? Like you got more talent in your pinky than any of us put together.
Yeah.
But at the end, when I was able to calm myself down and go, okay, this is what he's trying to convey to me. So it was like, okay, cool. And then from that point on, new ball game.
Yeah.
So again, coaching tip for everybody out there. You're going to have 2 million people in your ear. Pick 2 and let that be it.
Yeah.
Because everybody has something they think is best for you. Talk to your favorite coach that you trust. Talk to a pro shop operator.
Yep. It's important.
It is very.
I trust my pro shop operator.
Dude, we say kind of like what you had said, tell him how much we appreciate him. I've said that several times. It's like we get so spoiled with having him in the pro shop.
Absolutely.
And I'm not kidding with that. That's if you have one, if you have access to Michael, use his ass because you couldn't have a better coach. I'm being serious.
Well, don't use my ass. Just saying.
You had to go there and say it. I was letting it go.
Look, it was hot.
Phrasing.
Are we really not doing phrasing? Lana!
No, but I will tell you this. Okay, cool story. I have to tell this because, again, like it meant the world to me. You said what y'all said earlier. Thank you so much. I didn't get a chance to say that earlier. But I am going to say this. I had a lady come in that did my clinic. I think you remember Marlene. She's kind of the taller.
Yeah, of course.
She came in Thursday. Called me, messaged me, and said, "Hey, I'm going to come talk to you. I'm thinking about getting a fingertip ball." Cool, no problem. She comes in, we're talking, and I said, "Do you feel like you're consistent how you're bowling right now?" She goes, "Well, no, not really." And I said, "Well, okay, let's pump the brakes here. What if we get you out here? Let's do a one-on-one lesson." And I said, "I want you comfortable rolling the ball in your conventional grip, and I don't want to advance you to a fingertip because I feel like that would be more detrimental to your game, not feeling comfortable with where you're at." And the reason I said that is because a lot of people, again, they think it's like it's a quick stitch.
Yep, quick fix.
It's a quick fix.
Yeah.
You got to cut, quick stitch, everything's good.
Yeah.
That's not always the case. Needless to say, Michelle and John Oxford. They were actually here this morning in the shop.
That's my peeps right there.
Michelle came up to me, gave me the biggest damn hug in the world. And she said, "Thank you for being such a genuine person." I said, "You talking about your friend Marlene?" She goes, "Yep." She goes, "Nobody's like, ever," basically in a nutshell, for not selling a ball when it wasn't necessary. And if anything, when it comes to the pro shop, you guys, I am like, I do not want to sell you a $300 ball. I can't believe I'm saying that because that's how the prices are now.
Oh my, yeah.
I don't want to sell you a $300 bowling ball if it's not going to benefit your game.
Yeah, and
So-
and Mike is a big proponent of that. I have a lot of experience with Mike here over the past probably 10 years or so that you've been doing work for me, and I still trust Mike with a lot of my decisions. Sometimes I'll go against him, but I will come in and say things to Mike like, "Hey, man, I think I want to get this ball, and I wanted to do this," and he'll look at me and go, "No, Johnny, that's probably not going to work." Sometimes we butt heads. He does it anyway, but when he does that, I will then ask him, okay, since that's what I'm wanting, what do you suggest? Right. And he'll give me his suggestion. We'll give it a shot. If it works, great. If it doesn't, that's okay. But you have to be able to trust the people that you work with. And being able to trust pro shop operators like Richard in the past, Mike now, a few other people throughout McCorvey's bowling world that I've trusted over the years. Those guys have helped me a lot. So your pro shop operators, big part, huge part of how your game will advance. And again, to go back to the 800 series, a lot of things led up to that for me. And some of that and a lot of that had to do with the help that I got from pro shop operators. It really, really did. So
That's you.
Yeah.
He needs you. We've had two great segues into our main topic that we're here for. But I have one last question I want to ask you just to close up kind of what we're talking about. Then we're going to move into mindset. And you guys have both done gorgeous segue opportunities. I wish I could have used them. But I'm curious, and maybe it'll help somebody else out. From you said earlier, you had the pin down on that ball. This is what I'm going to ask you about.
Okay.
How long did it take to discover, hey, I like the pin down because it's going to do this? How much is that? Just because I'm guessing it was just a ton of trial and error. You tried it here, you tried it there.
You're correct in that. It was a lot of trial and error for me and a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Mike would be able to tell a lot of you guys in the chat that me and him have had a lot of discussions. A lot. Again, this goes back to pro shop operators helping you out.
Yes.
I've had these conversations with Mike, Chris Hayes that used to be in the pro shop here, Alex, Michael Weber. I've had a lot of these conversations with pro shop operators about what they believe can help and what will work. And guys, they will, to the best of their ability and what they know of you and your game, help you all they can. Me and Mike have been through a lot of trial and error with many different things in my game when it comes to arsenal, but also my grip. My grip was a big problem for me for probably about 1.5 to 2 years.
Man, how was that to change? So you're saying you changed your grip?
Yes.
How significantly?
So a few years ago, Mike will remember this. When actually, no, that was okay. So when I threw my first 800, that was 5 years ago. I was still throwing fingertip, but something wasn't quite right in my hand, and we figured that out kind of quickly because probably about 6 months after that first 800, I had to change my grip to what's called a Sarge Easter, which for people in the chat, if you don't know, you will have a fingertip grip for your middle finger, but conventional for your ring finger, so you go up to your second knuckle. And I did that because something was wrong in my bowling ball grip that caused me to tear the ligaments in this finger. And rather than being a smart person who quit bowling for a little while.
Why would you do that?
No, I was like, no, we can mitigate this pain. That's not a problem. We can navigate around this. And so I did Sarge Easter for about 1 year to 1.5 years before that healed. And then when I went back to fingertip grip, we ended up changing my pitches. Me and Mike did probably 3 or 4 separate times. My finger pitches, my thumb pitch. And it took another probably 2 years to get all of that back right to where now I don't have any finger pain, any wrist pain, or anything that I was having before. And guys, before when I was bowling, I was the guy who taped up his fingers. Yeah. I put KT tape around my wrist and up my elbow, and I don't have to do that anymore. And again, a lot of that goes into talking to your pro shop operator. In my case, Mike. And it took a lot of trial and error. So that part took a lot of trial and error, but also the layout, that was a lot of trial and error. And Mike has done quite a few different things with my layouts over the years. So yeah, that one, coming to a pin down option, it's really ball specific. It really is. I don't like doing pin down stuff on weaker bowling balls because it kills it too much. So if I can get a stronger bowling ball, but I don't want it to be way too much, I can go pin down and I can tame it.
Even it out, kind of.
Yep.
Like you said earlier, I think you said it really well.
Yep.
Yeah, you said that, and I was like, I wonder how long that took.
Yeah, that was a lot of trial and error. It was. Yeah. With Mike.
Oh yeah. We love you so much,
Mm-hmm.
Mikkel. We've talked about quite a few things, but a big thing that we want to focus on for really this one, and again, we've said lots of things that are involved in it, but mindset, right? Like you had kind of alluded to it earlier with appreciating the moment. I think we've talked about like being in it. Like, hey, I might not be here again.
Yeah.
That's a mindset. That is a learned, not behavior, but that's a learned perspective.
Yes.
That's not easy to do.
It is not.
And then what you had gone into right after that, that's like, okay, boom, we're in mindset, right? So for you, Johnny, when did you become aware? I mean, like when you were a kid or whatever, when you had said, hey, mindset or whatever you thought of it at the time, that is very powerful. That can be very powerful if I get it right.
Yeah.
Right. When do you think you first kind of realized the power of achieving a solid mindset? You know what I mean? Where you want it to be.
Yeah. I think that probably happened for me. Actually, it would be probably later in my teenage years.
Okay.
People that know me, I've always been a smaller person, height-wise. I'm a short guy, but I always grew up playing sports, football, basketball, but I was always the smallest.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for me to be accepted by anyone that I played with, my game had to do my talking. It wasn't trash talk that was going to do it, because nobody's going to respect the smallest guy on the field or the smallest guy on the court. So my talking would always have to come through the product that I put out for people to see. And the person that gave me my inspiration as a kid, and I had the privilege of being able to watch him the entire time he was in his prime, was Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was the one that I took a lot of that from, that kill or be killed mindset, put in all the practice, put in all the hard work, do those things so that way when the moment gets to you, the moment is not too big. And that was very clear by the way that Michael played the game. No shot was too big. No moment was too big. But that really didn't hit home for me until I was probably in high school. And at that time, I was playing basketball a lot for money. And that's where that came into play for me a lot, was there. Because then that's when that mindset of kill or be killed, but also not having the moment be too big.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm not going to interrupt, but I just love the keeping that in mind. You know what I mean? Because that's something we don't talk about often.
True. And that also goes into bowling, and I know we'll get back to it for sure. But for me, that's a big part of bowling, is I don't ever want the moment to be too big.
Yeah, man.
And that was that lighthearted banter on my big night a couple weeks ago, keeps the moment a little bit smaller. It makes it a lot more manageable. But also that goes into your practice routine. That goes into, having, for people that haven't bowled a 300 before, obviously once you throw 5 or 6 strikes in a row, like you mentioned, you think your highest is at 6?
6, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Twice.
And once you get to that 6 in a row, your heart will start beating a little faster.
Yeah.
It did for me. The first few times that I got to 6 or 7 in a row, my heart was beating fast. I was a little shaky. And I had to remember, okay, no, you can do this. If you've done it 5 or 6 times in a row now, you can do it again. And that's where that mindset comes in. But a lot of that goes into practice. And I took a lot of that from what I saw Michael Jordan do on a basketball court for years. That complete effort all the time. Didn't matter if it was a regular season game or the playoffs. Did not matter. You give everything you have every single time, and the results will come from that.
Oh, yeah.
So
And then winners want the ball. That's an easy one to throw
Yeah.
out all the time.
Yep.
But with MJ, because I love all the documentaries, and especially when other players talk about him, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And that's one of the things with him. They'll be like, or the difference between Kobe and Jordan. Like,
Yeah.
Kobe wanted to beat you at basketball.
Yes.
Michael Jordan wanted to beat you at everything.
Everything.
Everything. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
so it's that total different mentality too. And that's something that's different. That's not me personally. I would probably just side more with Kobe. It's like MLB. And I think that sounds like what you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But still, we all competitive. We
Mhm.
love competitive nature, and I think.
Yeah.
But for him, MJ was just something different.
Yeah, he was a killer across the board. And for a little while, I know we haven't gotten into it, but I'll go ahead and get into it a little bit. My mindset behind that, I am an incredibly competitive person and always have been in everything that I do. And I was that way for a long time. I wanted to beat everybody at everything I did. And if I wasn't perfect at it, I was striving to be perfect because I was going to beat you the next time. That was always my goal.
Yep.
And again, that's why I said, to me, that was what I saw from Michael Jordan. And then, of course, when they did the Last Dance documentary, to hear him talk about it that way, I was like, yeah, that was what I saw when I was 8, 9, and 10, watching this man dominate that way. That was what he wanted, and that was what I saw. So to hear it articulated that way, I was like, I'm glad that was actually his intention when he was doing everything. He wanted to win at everything, and I was that way for a long time. That's toned back quite a bit now, thankfully.
Which we'll get to.
We will get to. That is toned back quite a bit now. Now it's just like, well, I'm going to give everything I have. That hasn't changed.
Right.
But I'm not nearly as cutthroat.
Not as worried about what everybody else is doing, more worried about yourself.
Just me, and we'll go from there.
Man, I don't want to get ahead of anything like this, but like, isn't that so much easier?
It is.
When you don't care, when you don't give a shite what's going on around you, what other people are doing, you're only worried about yourself.
100%.
So much easier.
Yep. Like a couple weeks ago when that big set happened for me, I was running around getting scores for the high game pot and taking care of stuff. And I happened to walk by a buddy of mine. And again, this is another mindset thing for me, not letting the moment be too big.
Yeah.
I was bowling well, but I went by a buddy of ours, Richard Harden. And Richard was having
we almost killed, right? Coach Harden? We almost killed. Sorry, we almost killed him in the hot sauce challenge.
Oh yeah,
sorry.
Richard's a good buddy.
Champ, stud. Yeah. Sorry,
love Richard, but he was having a little bit of a rough night. He was striking on one lane, but not on the other. And I kind of stopped and I was like, "Hey man, what's going on? What are you seeing on this lane? What are you seeing on that lane?" And it got me out of my own moment for a little bit. Let my mind focus on something else, so I wasn't so worried about it. And that was another thing that kind of helped me mentally that night. And so you take yourself out of the moment, you try to help other people. And for some people, that doesn't work. But,
I love it. I agree with you totally. Big time. It helps me in situations like that.
It does, because it helped me not think about it so much. But I've also gotten to a point now with my mindset and the way that I see things that I genuinely do want to help other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I see things like that, even if I'm bowling well, I'll stop and try to help somebody else, as long as I'm not bowling against them. Still competitive. Not gonna. I can know exactly what my opponent's doing wrong. I'm not gonna tell them. Yeah. I'll tell them as soon as we're done.
Yep.
But I'm not gonna tell you right.
No, I totally get that.
Yeah.
You said something. I'm not shifting topics at all, but I want to really validate one thing you said earlier on the details.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you said that. And I just saw a great clip the other day. It was Gronkowski talking about, I think the best piece of advice he got, he was talking about when he was going to the combine.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget who it was, but one of the senior tight ends in the league at that time, he had the same agent. I think that was the story. So his agent was like, hey, call Olsen or something like one of the old linebackers, right?
Yeah.
He's like, hey, what should I do? Give me advice, whatever. And he's like, look, man, just be yourself and have fun, but do all of the small things.
Yes.
Do all of the calisthenics, the stretches, the band work, the this, the that. Do all the things that seem like minute details that don't mean anything. Do them all.
Do them all.
Like they matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You mentioned earlier something about making a ball change or when you're not throwing the ball well, if you're topping it or if you're doing this or doing that, that does come back to your fundamentals.
Mm-hmm.
Bowling is much. It is very, very, very fundamentally based. If your fundamentals aren't there, your game will suffer. So that's another little piece that goes into that. Do the nuts and bolts thing. When you come to practice, make it count. If you're having a problem with targeting, work on targeting. Who cares what your score is? Practice is not for score. Practice is for improving your game. So work on your targeting. Work on how your hand is coming out of the ball or whatever the case may be, because those little fundamentals, they lead up to the bigger accomplishments, like 300, 800, your first 600, your first 700, whatever it is, So absolutely, the small things build up to the big things.
You said it earlier too. It's like, hey, there was a lot of things that got me to this.
Yes.
A lot of things happened before this 847. It wasn't a fluke.
Correct. Yeah.
Just don't do targeting in football,
or you'll get ejected. One and
targeting in bowling. Okay.
Yeah. We've gone soft in football. People.
Yes.
But it's also when we talked about not letting the moment be too big, which I love that too. And the biggest way I always saw it in my mind, kind of especially with military things, and the hardest thing you've ever done in your life, the hardest thing you've ever done, you're like your baseline. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I remember for a while in football in high school, daily doubles or 2-a-days.
Yes.
At one point, that was like the hardest week ever of your life. You know what I mean? Because you got to practice twice a day. Are you kidding me?
He and I were talking about this before we went live tonight.
Yep.
We were talking about 2-a-days.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wish they'd come back.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the thing about it is the correlation to it is like in football, we were talking about 2-a-days.
Mm-hmm.
And when they stopped 2-a-days in the pros, injuries went up significantly.
Yeah. Did you guys do it in high? Did you play football in high school, or did they?
I scrimmaged in high school. I didn't play for the team, but I did go out and practice. So I didn't do 2-a-days with the guys. But
do you remember that week of it though? It was always in like the summer.
Always in the summer,
right? And you do
always in the summer.
And when I'm a teenager, that's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Yep.
Then I joined the Marines, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's nothing. Yep.
Then it's like, okay, then your first like 10-mile ruck. You know what I mean? Yep. And then this, and then that, and that continues to evolve. It's almost like the same we were talking about tattoos before, right? Like after that chest piece that I got, this was a bitch, right? And then so now, like that's the hardest thing I've done. That's baseline. Yeah. Then to do one like this, it was like, this moment is easy. This is a nice little easy moment. After you ball 800, then it's like you're in the game now. It's like, well, I've done so much harder, so much worse. Yeah. I've been in so much bigger moments than any moment that's not as big. Not to say it's not important, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like then they're just totally easy.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this: some of my 800 series that I've bowled have come at the expense of me not knowing.
Yeah.
And that's half the battle.
You know what I mean by that?
No.
I do.
Kind of, but I would like to say.
Great story here. Last year, Wednesday night All-Star League. I was bowling against the greatest secretary in the world, Randall Reed. We're going to show you this on Monday, my friends. I know you're not watching now. But bowling his team last year in All-Star. And last game I go off the sheet, shoot 279. He comes back and he goes, "Congratulations, sir." Congratulations for what? I shot up another Larry kid.
If you see me throw 279, I'll take it. Congratulations, please.
No. I mean, like my thing is, I was like, okay. I know what you mean. I was like, okay, thanks. And he goes, "Well, you shot 800." I was like, "Randall, no, I didn't." He goes, "You did." And I went back and looked at the score sheet, and I was like, "Oh." And I took my phone out and I went, "Oh, well, what do you know? I shot 801."
Yeah, 801. Yeah, I remember that night.
Cool.
It counts as an 800, right?
It does. Like, okay. But my thing was, it's like, again, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Oh, and now I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like I didn't have a clue.
Okay.
So if anything, it helped me stay
out of
my head.
Yep.
And just keep repeating shots to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, there's a bonus right here for you.
It's kind of funny, man, when things are going right, because I've been able to do it a few times. I think when I was telling you, like I slowed my ball down, and I threw a 6-bagger that night. You know what I mean? And so for me, I had almost the equivalent of an 847 for me, which was almost a 600. But it was the same thing where it's like it was feeling so good. I don't need to worry about anything. I don't need to look at the score.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking at any of that. I just sit back down and start talking again.
Yeah.
So it's almost like whenever like it's easy then to not, but then it's so hard. As soon as you make one mistake, you're like, what was it?
Yeah.
Coming off of what are they doing? What's this? If the second frame I would have closed.
Yeah.
It's so easy to just get sucked back into all of that.
It is.
Dude, watch somebody who is on a string watch how they handled the moment after they leave a stone 8 pin.
Yeah.
How many times was I've
Stone 9
yeah,
for me.
I've left I left the stone 8 for $2.99, which
Yeah.
stone 8 for a right-hander is like almost the only tap in bowling.
That's unacceptable.
Yeah. And I did that for $2.99. So my thing is, it's like, imagine that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're like, I could not throw the ball any better.
Yeah.
And then, but you have to sit here and you have to be able to, like, you got to be able to calm your nerves down and go, okay, what have I got to do? And 9 times out of 10, you'll see somebody on a 6 or 7 in a row. As soon as they miss, that's when
their demeanor changes.
Then their body language changes. Then they tense up and they end up pulling it, or they end up throwing the gutter. I watched somebody in All-Star League probably about 10, 12 years ago have the front 8 and go 10 pin off a full round.
Oh.
Punched out for 271.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. 271.
That's a hell of a score there.
That is.
That's hard to get.
That's like the unicorn of bowling scores, y'all. 291, 292. I want to see it happen.
I want to make that happen for you, Mike. I might go for it.
Yes. Take out the 6-9 on a solid.
Oh, a full rack.
Rack. I just want. I'll give you. We will come up with a ring, the 292 club. I'll give you a ring for 293.
I've told him, not that anybody cares, but even if it's in league, first time, I don't care if it's sanctioned or not.
Yeah.
I'm having a ring made for a 300 game.
Yeah,
as soon as I throw one.
Don't worry,
Do it.
on our Sunday night, we don't get everybody a trophy.
Yeah.
Do something big.
Yeah. And I made, I think I told you about this, but my boys and I have made gentlemen's agreements when we shook hands on it.
Okay.
Whoever the first person to bowl a 300 is, right after you do it, you got to rip your shirt off and run up and down the lane. I don't remember where that came from.
Got to go safe streaking.
Yeah.
And then they agreed to it, and I was like, ah, shit.
Better hope they don't do it during Branson doesn't go in the high school match.
Thank you for your confidence in me being the first one to throw it. I figured hopefully I'm going to be the first one to rip my shirt off. It'd be interesting to see if I actually do, though. Do you think Branson's going to bowl 300 before me?
I didn't say that.
It sounded like he implied it, though, didn't he?
He did kind of imply.
But you know what would be funny for you? Because aren't you from North Carolina?
No.
But you lived in North Carolina?
Yeah, but I have.
That's okay, that counts.
Okay, yeah. Yes.
So when you do, I better hear you start singing Petey Pablo.
I don't know what that is.
Oh,
North Carolina.
Raise up.
Oh,
Take your shirt off.
Jesus.
Throw it around your head like
I'll add that to it. I'll add that to it. Maybe you should tell Branson the same thing, though, in case he tosses a 300
No,
first.
I'm not going to tell, because if he does it in high school, you don't want to get kicked off the team.
See, I'll just raise a ruckus, and I'll get kicked out instead of him.
Okay.
There you
go.
Deflection. That's what we're here for, right?
Yeah. Vicariously through you on that moment.
That's right. That's what we do as parents.
Yes.
There you go.
We don't live vicariously through them. They get to live through us.
Yeah.
You embarrass them, and they embarrass you.
Yeah. Speaking of that, very good segue again. Now with this whole mindset and everything, right? And I don't think we've talked about it so much on air yet.
Yeah.
And we don't have to go into it big time. I know we're running real late and we still have stuff to talk about. But when you were younger, I think we were very similar, you and I, like a bit temperamental.
Yes.
You know, and you've already said, which goes along with the extreme competitive.
Yes.
Because if you guys know anybody who's extremely competitive, I mean, you know those people, right? They can be very. What do we got, Michael?
Oh boy.
Victor says, "I want a 292 so bad."
Yeah. Me too, Victor. Me too.
We'll come up with something for DGAB.
That might be the one that retires us.
Yeah, that might be it.
We're gonna come up with something for that for the 292. I like that.
Yeah.
But to add temperamental to extremely competitive, those two alone creates a lot of feistiness. Not to say fight, but there's a whole lot of adjectives, right?
Yeah.
Anything in all of those, all the synonyms for that.
It creates a lot of tension. Sure.
Tension, on edge.
Yes.
Those types of incidents.
Yes.
Per se.
Yep.
And we're very similar. I was the same. My mom still talks about my bad temper as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, I would be younger than Logan, and if an older teenager kid talked smack, I was pissed and going at him.
Yeah.
You know, that type of stuff. So then you start adding that into competitiveness.
Were you triggered
We're not
I
going
am
there.
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
By that word. Stupid ass word.
Sorry.
Well, gosh, that just got society so soft. You are going to trigger me by using the word with that though, and yeah, imagine trying to be that in today's world, but being that way though, because you're conscious of it,
Yes.
you know, whether you like it or not, we're still aware that maybe sometimes of being an ass or just extremely competitive or like maybe I got a little too serious.
No, you said it right, being an asshole. Being an asshole. If there's if there's anybody who's watching this that knows me, they already know.
Yeah. What I would love to dig into that more, but we got to get a couple more things and then get wrapped up. But what was it? We'll go with mindset, right? And then from that, having almost a chip on your shoulder, right? Because you said, hey, I'm short. My actions are going to speak, not my performance is going to speak, not my mouth, right? I'm going to show you.
Yeah.
And that's a chip, boy. Yeah. You know, I came out of the Marines with a chip on my shoulder. I didn't know about it, but my parents call those the dark years. Yeah. You know, so I'm being serious. So being that way, and it's hard, it's tough to be that way also. It's draining on yourself. It is. You know what I mean? Yeah. It takes a lot. It's not only that stuff out, but it's not easy. Yeah, you also put the expectations really high for yourself. Yeah. And extremely critical of every single thing we've already talked about. You know what I mean? Yeah. What was there something? What was it? And what age timeline wise did you have a shift in temperament? Yeah. So if we want to go back, we can take it from what got me into bowling to start with, which was actually I got into bowling originally with my now ex-wife. We had our son, and she wanted for us to have a date night, and bowling was her pick. It wasn't my pick. I had bowled recreationally as a kid, liked bowling, but never anything serious. Bowled Friday and Saturday nights for rock and bowl or whatever they call it for wherever you're at. But I did that a lot as a youngster and as a teenager. But it was her choice for us to bowl, and she wanted to bowl a league. You brought this on us. Yep. She brought it on, and we bowled a league together. That was our date night. We would bowl, then we go have dinner, and that was our date night after our son was born. And we won that league, and then I ended up just sticking with bowling from there. And so I've been bowling now, league and tournaments and everything, for my son is 13. So this is my 13th full fall season. Nice. So yeah, this was the start of year 13. How long is a full fall season? Leagues typically start at the end of August, middle of August, end of August, and go through March, April, May. Depends on how many holidays fall in there, but yeah, so majority of the year. Majority of the year. So that's kind of where I got started. And when I first started bowling, that temperament, that mindset of I'm going to beat everybody at everything was 100% at the forefront. I was hyper competitive. I had my goals set way up here, which for what my talent level was at the time was not reality versus expectation. Yeah, reality was not. That was not great for me. And so I was very, very critical of a lot of the things that I would do. I've had incidents. I'll go ahead and list one because it's funny now. It wasn't funny at the time, but it's funny now that I look back on it. This was probably 2 or 3 seasons into bowling. I came in one Monday night in Decatur, which is my home center. Okay. And I had a good first game. I think I shot 248 or 258, clean game. I was really happy with it. And started game 2, threw my first shot, right in the pocket, 7-10. I threw it up to a fluke. I was like, okay, no, I've been throwing the ball good. That happens, whatever. Second frame, I throw the ball again in the pocket. And it had to have been weak in the pocket. Mike's over there about to piss his pants laughing at me, but I left up a lily. And for those of you that don't know what a lily is, it's a 5, a 7, and a 10. Oh, sour apple. Oh, brother, Jesus. Oh, it was gross. And so
I was already a little upset about the 710. The 5-7-10 made it worse.
So did something happen after you left the second frame?
Not the second, it was the third.
No, third frame, one more, took one more?
It took one more. So the third frame, I threw the ball again because I copped them both up to flukes. I left another 710.
Wow.
I kept my calm long enough to throw the spare shot. That was it. And I came back and patiently waited for my ball to come out of the ball return. And I grabbed the ball and I turned around. And I had done this multiple times when I got mad before. I'd bounced my bowling ball, kind of yelled and cussed at myself a little bit. Well, I did the same thing this time. And I threw my bowling ball down on the ground, fully expecting that it was going to bounce up to me. And it did not. It shattered into about 30 pieces in the middle of the league. Sent shrapnel everywhere. And when I did it, I immediately went, oh no, this is bad. So I walked over and I started picking the pieces up. And the center manager came over to me. Her name was Catherine. And she was like, Jonathan, as soon as you get that picked up, we need to have a word. And I was like, yes, ma'am. I know we do. And I went and threw my pieces of my ball in the dumpster and I came back in. And of course, she told me, she said, that's never going to happen again. If it ever does happen again, you're done here. Period. She was like, as long as I'm here, you're done here. And I said, yes, ma'am, I understand. And I've had more problems since then. That was the worst one by far because it was a bowling ball that broke. Pieces could have hit people. Thankfully, they didn't. I'm thankful for that. Now I look back on it and I laugh, but that could have been bad. That could have been the end of bowling for me. And thankfully, it wasn't. So I went from that to now I'm a lot more, I'm not that way. I still beat myself up about things now, but that mindset started to change for me much more so with my son being around me a lot more. My son lives at home with me. I'm a single father. I have full custody of my son. And so where that mindset changed for me was when I brought him up here one day to get his first bowling ball. And I brought him in to see Price, and we got him all fit up and drilled. Took him out to bowl, and for his first time, he wanted to be like Dad. We're not going to go there. He said, I don't want bumpers. I don't want anything. If you're doing it without bumpers, I don't want them. I said, okay, fine. Sounds great. So I kind of gave him the rundown of what he needed to do. All right, put your hand on the ball, hold it like this, stand here, try to take 4 steps, and you're going to swing and throw it. And he said, okay. He gives it his best shot, and he runs up there, throws the ball. First ball he's ever thrown, hits the head pin. He gets 9 pins. He leaves up only the 10 pin. And, I'm clapping for him. Great job, Micah. That's awesome. He said, okay, what do I need to do to get the other one? So I told him what I do. And I lined him up and I said, what you want to do? Don't aim at the pin. Try to aim at this, blah, blah, blah. So he does it. He throws the ball. I thought he was going to get it. The ball drops off right in front of the 10 pin into the gut. Just barely misses it. And I was like, oh, man, that's all right. It's not a problem. You did great. That was awesome. And I got my fist out for him for a fist pound. And he walks by me and he goes, nope, I don't deserve a fist pound because I didn't knock down every pin. Yeah. And it was that moment. I saw that and I heard that and I went, oh no. No. Like, you can't be that. I'm already that guy. You can't be that. But he had already been around me a little bit in bowling and a little bit in other competitive activities. And he had already kind of seen that. And so I was like, I don't want him to grow up this way. I don't want him to be that way. I want him to have fun with what he does because bowling is fun.
Can be
fun.
It should be.
Should be fun. should be fun. It is fun. And I think everybody will attest when you're doing something well, it's always fun. It's hard to find that fun when you're not doing well. And so when I saw that from him, that was when my mindset and temperament with the game began to change. Mm-hmm. That was when it really took a turn to go the other way because I was like, yeah. I don't want my son to go that way. he already looks like me. He's a miniature version of me. It's like he came out directly out of my ass. Love the kid to death, but that's what. And so already knowing that, and then seeing that part of his personality, I was like, no, I don't want that. I want him to be as happy as possible doing whatever it is he enjoys to do. If it's bowling, right now he's in the cross country, so
Nice.
doing that, I want him to be happy in whatever he does. And so I was like, if that's the case, then my temperament and my mindset has to change so he sees that.
I like the way that you explain that. Again, I like how there's been a lot of the same things. It's just being said different ways, right?
Yeah.
Or different things.
Yeah.
Because we've talked about this a couple times now.
Yeah.
Off camera. All right.
Yeah.
And you said something there that just I hadn't heard yet, right? That you made the changes like, oh shit, because you saw your temperament in
Yes.
him, right? And said, I need to change mine so he doesn't carry that with him through his life.
Correct.
Right. Instead of, I think a lot of times it's, I guess it was a little different for me. I don't know if I could tell a precise story, right? But it's almost more of like, I feel like a lot of times we want to change to be better for the kid.
Yeah.
But you saw it.
Yeah.
You were like, oh, crap. No.
Yeah, he already had it. And
It's
I was
like, we got to get rid of that.
Yeah, we need to go
So
ahead
I
and
need
put
to
a cap on it.
change.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's interesting too. And so was that, okay. So seeing it's one thing.
Mhm.
And then even having the thought of, okay, I need to change this.
Yeah.
I need to change me because he's emulating me, as we know anyway they do, right? And so was it hard for you to do that, or did you understand at this point, like, hey, it's going to be baby steps? I feel like you're probably old enough to know it's going to take some time for the change. You don't expect it overnight.
No, didn't expect it overnight. It did not happen overnight.
Sure.
Mike can attest to that. He's seen some of my outbursts.
I've heard some stories too. They're good ones.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have time anymore right now.
But no, it was baby steps.
Yeah.
And it did. It took a while. I've gotten better. I've had a couple of teammates that have really helped me along the way in that, to kind of shape my mindset in that way, to try and make me have a more positive mindset toward the game instead of being so hypercritical.
Yes.
Shout out to you, Anna, if you're watching. That's a huge thing that she pushes. Yay bowling is what she says.
Yeah.
Whether she's bowling good or bowling bad, but she's always like, hey, just try not to take yourself too serious because it doesn't matter that much. That has rubbed off on me more than she will ever know. So I deeply appreciate that. But yeah, it was baby steps. It definitely was baby steps, and being around different people that kind of showed me the way. Tony was one of those guys that helped show me the way. Tony Churchy, telling me, you can be happy about a 258, Jonathan. You don't have to be perfect,
Right.
Yeah. And that's an important thing because when you're seeking to be as good as you can be at something, then obviously sometimes you're seeking perfection, but you're not ever always going to be perfect. And so those things help me go step by step by step to get better, and I'm still working on it.
That's what I was going to ask. You kind of already told us. What's up, Mike?
I'm going to tell you, to your 5-7-10 league, Mr. Mark Dillard left a comment here. He said, I left the 5-7-10 once, stopped on the way home, and threw that ball over.
There you go, buddy.
Throw the next one over the river, not on the ground.
Yeah.
Just run it down to the Tennessee.
Yeah.
Again, like you kind of told us, but let me phrase the question because I wanted to ask. It popped in my head.
Yeah.
When you decided for that change, right? Because when you're younger, we talked about the mindset. You're like, I want to be MJ.
Yes.
When you were like, oh shit, I got to change.
Yeah.
Did you already have somebody in your mind, or maybe did you, not that you wanted to emulate them, but you're like, hey, they have the temperament that I'm seeking. I know Tony Church, the old TC300, said he helped you.
Yeah.
But is that because you kind of saw it? Was that mutual? And was there anybody else where you're like, they're always cool as a cucumber? You know what I mean? That same question, just now that you know there's a change.
Yeah. Watching other bowlers, because bowling is what I ended up taking up most of my time with. Seeing Tony is a big one. Tony was a big one for me because when you watch, if you have the privilege of watching Tony Churchy bowl, nothing is ever too big for him. He doesn't ever take himself seriously. And he's a fantastic bowler. So when you watch that, it can't help but kind of rub off on you because especially if you're looking at that guy, like Mike said, he worked for 20 years to finally eclipse Churchy in a league and average. And it is hard. Tony's in his 60s. He's a phenomenal bowler. still is a phenomenal bowler.
He won't like what
And-
it says, but he's almost 70.
Oh yeah,
I had a couple jokes both times.
Yeah.
I can say, well, TC
Yeah.
finally got old enough, you caught it.
yeah, exactly. And so, Tony was a big one. There are a lot of bowlers in this area who are cooler when they bowl. They have cooler heads when they bowl, and being able to see that does add something to it. Mike over here is somewhat cool when he bowls, as long as he's bowling well.
That's the part of it. As long as he's bowling well.
As he's bowling well. So when I see Mike bowling well and how he's, adapting around, even if his teammates are bowling bad, there were little things that I took from even things that Mike would do, and I would take that and I would try to be a better teammate toward my teammates because I did see that. And so those things they rubbed off on me. I took a lot of that from local bowlers that I saw that were where I wanted to be and where I'm still striving to be. So
I would use this analogy a lot for like in the military, like leadership style, right? Young
Yeah.
people developing leadership styles. But what you were saying, what we're talking about is the same of seeing people. And as far as the leaders, like you learn, you want to be like the good leader. You have great leaders.
Yes.
Like, I want to be like them. But you can learn just as much from bad leaders.
you can.
You're like, I do not want to do
Yes.
that. I will not do that.
Yep.
I won't do this. Kind of same as being dads. You see
Yeah.
dad things like, I like how he did this. I don't like that. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. But you build your own character. I mean,
Yes.
picture it like in a video game, whether it's your leadership abilities or your bowling game, right? How you want to be.
Yeah.
Your mindset in general, I picture it as a video game character
Yeah.
where you're picking all the, you know what I mean? You want to
Picking
max out
stats.
your quality, all that
Yep.
stuff. But yeah, you're picking stats. You're picking this from the,
Yep.
you cherry picked your
Mhm.
own style, what's going to work for you. And maybe it's like the pin, maybe it'll take a while. You try some things that don't work.
Yeah.
I don't know if you tried anything that you're like, oh, that didn't help me. That didn't work, this or that. But
Yeah, one thing that did not help me, that does actually help one of my teammates that I still bowl tournaments and stuff with to this day, Marquise. Marquise is a guy that when he gets to the point where he is pissed off with how he's bowling, he actually locks in more.
Yeah.
And he's able to bowl better. That doesn't work for me. Negative reinforcement does work for me, but being pissed off at myself doesn't necessarily work. It has to be more of, hey, stupid, stop doing stupid things.
yeah.
There you go, Victor.
Yeah.
Told you.
Hey, stupid, stop doing dumb shit. Throw the ball better.
Yeah.
Like, that works for me. Even if somebody else looks at me and tells me that, I've got a couple of teammates now, Jeff Heath and AJ Landis. They'll do that a lot. Well, just throw it better, asshole.
Yeah.
That actually resonates with me, and I can take that. When I start getting too negative, though, then it goes the other
Yeah.
way. And then for some people, like for Marquise, like I said, when he's a little more upset with the way he's bowling, and he gets to that point of, if he's lost or flustered, as he calls it, he's done.
Yeah.
But if he gets to the pissed off point, he will be phenomenal.
Then it's
from
like you guys are
that point
screwed.
on.
You guys
Yep.
are screwed.
Yeah,
You're
you're
pissed now.
screwed.
Yeah.
Once he gets to that point,
Yeah.
he's almost untouchable.
Yeah.
I was going to elaborate on that too. I have never seen anybody strike out more in the 10th frame
Correct.
than needed
Yeah.
than Keith.
Correct.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
mean, if you need a 3-back, it doesn't matter how bad the game has been. He
He'll
could
get
have
it.
the absolute worst game in
Yep.
the world.
He'll be 130 going into the 10th.
He's like, I would
But you know he's going to close
But
it.
he'll
I
get
would
you
get you
three.
to
Yeah.
160.
Yep.
yeah.
Give it.
Yep.
But another thing, I'll tell you this too. You're talking about leadership skills and
Mhm.
everything. All right. And again, this is not tooting my horn. It's to reiterate what Jonathan was saying.
Mhm.
So with my team on Monday night, okay, anytime Lou misses a 10 pin, Kyle and I are like, dude, you suck.
Yeah.
Now, Michael misses a 10 pin. They don't say that to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you why. So last Monday night, when again Mr. Kryptonite Nicholas Delgado, I went up there, second game, leave a stone 7. Now I'm already beside myself because I already felt like I thrown a good ball and I got tapped, whatever the case may be. I missed it to the left, y'all.
Ooh.
I came back and I sat down in lane 8. Everybody's trying to fist bump. I don't want to touch you.
Yeah.
Because I'm disgusted with myself. And I was like this. Neither one of them said anything to me. Because they don't have to.
Yeah.
Because it's the leaders of the team that know that me missing that 7-pin may cost the team.
Yeah.
And I tied Nick that game. Had I made that spare,
you'd have beat him.
I'd have beat him.
Yeah.
So make your spares.
But I think
want to reiterate that.
And also learn the people that you bowl with.
that's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to
learn the people that you bowl with, because that's one thing. For a long time, there were quite a few people here locally that didn't really want to bowl with me too much because of, because of my attitude. I was a little bit too
because of the edge and the chip.
The edge and the chip. It was just too much.
Yeah.
As that toned down, and people started to see it a little bit differently, and they understood where I was coming from a little bit more, that changed, and I got to bowl with more and better and different people. But when you learn those things about your teammates, it is very important to have good team camaraderie. And that's a big reason as to why, because some people, like when people look at me, if my teammates were to look at me and say, you suck for missing a 7-pin, I'm going to laugh at it and go about my business because it is what it is.
Yeah.
But that's not the case for everybody. And so you have to know that about your teammates.
Yeah.
And when you learn that, that makes the game easier and it makes it more fun. It really does. So
Victor says, yes, this is what I came from. And he says, this is what I tell myself all the time. And he said, my video game character hits 80 home runs a year.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Branson's working on 50-50 with Otana on the game right now.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. So it goes with these are a couple of the last things that I'll have, but I could talk forever now that we get on this topic. But being self-aware to self-regulate, you hear me say it a million times. We talked about that. Like with you dealing with like how we change typically. You have to be self-aware to self-regulate, and you learn how they do. But with that, especially what you were saying, what you chimed in on with that, the leadership attributes or traits is like you got to know each person to know how to deal with them.
Yes.
That's a big reason, not to rabbit hole something else, but that I got out of the Marines, I'd had enough of it. I got promoted a little bit, not the big, but for a 4-year contract, you start seeing behind the curtain a little bit, and I don't like it because it was like you have to their haircut. I'll use that for an example. Every Monday, you better have a fresh haircut Monday morning. Period. That's it.
Yeah.
If not, you're shaving your head Sunday night for real. You know what I mean? And just kind of the mindset was smoke their ass means make them do a lot of push-ups and sit-ups, thrash them basically. That's just how you blanket generality, how you fix everything.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I don't want to. If I know that's going to work on you, like, why do you need a haircut, man? And I'm smoking you, and you're just like, you're gonna make me. You're gonna get tired of telling me to do push-ups before I'm done doing push-ups. Fuck you. I know those guys, right? I know that's gonna work on you, right? But then I can just simply, I know if I go to Mike and be like, hey, man, I got my ass chewed today for you not having a haircut, dude.
Yeah.
I really need, and now it's more the dad disappointment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to know, and you only got the one kid, but with my two, I have to discipline and treat them differently.
Yes.
Or after games, last night, the soccer tournament, they lost. They got second. They had a great season, right?
Nice.
The game they lost. And afterwards, it's a lot different. The older one, he's the seeking approval. So, of course, he's crying on my shoulder because I'm telling him, like, bro, you did great.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell them when they don't do good.
Yeah.
Maybe a little too much.
Yeah.
More often than I should. I'm much more critical than the praise, but I'm working on that. But it was like, bro, I couldn't ask anything more from you. You know what I mean? And he's just like the sobby, like, which is fine. Yeah. That's how he is.
Yeah.
Because he wants to, make me happy and everything like that. And of course, then there's the one that's like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just looks at me and he's like, whatever, game's over, piss off, let's go. Dang it, you know what I mean?
We're on to Cincinnati. Yeah, and see,
the staple of this podcast.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like that's a big thing. You mentioned your kids. My kid is very different from me in that regard. He does not take negativity well. And for me, I always have. I've always taken the negative and said, "Oh, you believe I'm not shit or I can't do it? I'll prove to you that I can." My son is not that way. And so people, not all people are built that way. And so that's something that you learn. And my temperament had to change for that as well, because the way I look at something, like with him running his cross country now, I look at it as you should be trying to do everything you can to be the best at it.
Absolutely.
But my son, at the beginning of this season, told me, I said, "Hey, what do you expect from cross country this year?" because I'm a goal-oriented guy.
Mhm. Yeah.
And he was like, well, I like running, and I want to try and set some PRs, and, I want to be better, and this, that, and the other. He was like, but I just don't want running to dominate my life. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's where we differ.
Mhm.
So now my brain had to switch, my brain had to switch in that, because my thought is to be the absolute best you can be, which he wants to be better, but that's not the only thing he's concerned about.
Yeah.
He enjoys doing it. And so, like I said before, I don't want to take that joy away.
Yep.
So the way I have to think about it with him and encourage him is different from how I would do it with myself, which would be, punch me in the mouth. I'm going to do, I'm going to do harder, and that doesn't work for him. It doesn't work for everybody.
It's no different than me giving a lesson.
Yeah.
Like I can't give every single person the same
Right.
lesson plan.
Yeah.
You have to figure, and it's like the other day, for example, I had this couple in here for 30 minutes. They're like, "Are we really doing this?" I said, "You're going to appreciate this later." And it was like, what do you think your weaknesses are? What do you think your strengths are? What are you looking to improve? What's your goals? Like as a coach, we have to do this stuff. Like
know what you're working with.
need to
Yep.
know where you want to be.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I guarantee you, the great coaches, they got a handle on their team. So like everybody that's cross country,
Yeah.
they should, in theory,
Yes.
have an idea of every single one of their students,
Yep.
every single one of their athletes, or where they're at. And again, getting off track here, we kind of feel like that it's, you and I were discussing this earlier. We feel personally like it has regressed over time.
A little
and
bit.
things have had to change.
Yep.
And it's the thing about it is I think what really makes a great leader in this sense, or a great parent, or whatever, is the fact of recognizing the change
Yeah.
Mhm.
and feeling like,
And adapting.
and
Yes.
adapting to it, to where you don't really, it's kind of like if you grew up in, like, let's just say the total totalitarian
Yeah.
mindset, and your kid has it.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, how do I convey those values and beliefs in a way that is not what I grew up in, but for a way for them to understand?
Yeah.
It's the same thing in coaching. Like,
Yeah.
the goal is to strike in
Yeah.
bowling.
Yeah.
But we have to create a different goal for every single
Yeah.
bowler out
Yep.
there to get to be able to strike on a consistent basis.
Because as Mike is a nicer person, and Mike has tried to help me with a few things over the years. And when he's said nice things to me, I'm like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Tell
What
me,
are you doing?
yeah. When I'm looking at him, I'm like, all right, Mike. So what did I do wrong? And he's like, well,
Yeah.
I got your video, and here's, you did this and this and this wrong. I'm like, no. What did I do wrong? I need to know what I did wrong, because that's what helps me.
Mhm.
If I know what I did wrong, then I'm going to focus on that to fix. I
Yeah.
don't care about necessarily the good. If the good was there, that's fine, and I'll take the good. But the bad is what I've got to fix. And so I focus a little more on the negative. That's just me.
Yep.
That works for me. That doesn't work for everybody. And so Mike has tried to help me with some things in the past, and he's figured that out a little bit, And so sometimes when I'm practicing, he'll come out and say something stupid to me like, well, just throw it better. What are you doing? Why are you throwing it like shit?
Yeah. Well,
Fair enough.
To your point, though, I think when you told me that, I was like, oh, okay.
All right.
I came out, I was like, your footwork sucks,
Yep.
man.
Yep.
All right, have a good day.
Yep. That's it. Yeah. And he has done that. Your footwork is terrible. It looks like your arm swing is way too fucking high. All right.
There's our one.
All right. I got it.
Oh boy.
That's all I needed to hear.
Woo! We got it. Show over, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
No, what you said is, again, I just want to share this because it popped in my head. I don't mean to keep bringing military crap up, but you said something interesting there. And we would always do, anytime we did a run or a range or whatever, we'd do an AR or debrief, after action review or debrief,
Yeah.
right? It's after something happened. All the time with PT, physical training, supposed to be one. It was the main things. What I'm bringing up is sustainments and improvements.
Yes.
Hey,
Yeah.
sustain this. You did really good. Your approach looked good. This and that. Keep doing that right.
Yep.
This is what we need to improve.
Yeah.
Acknowledging though, hey, keep doing this good.
Yeah.
That was good, but yeah, keep doing it that
Yeah.
way. So what are we going to sustain? What do we need to improve? That to me
Agreed.
falls right in
I think
line.
we're okay, because my phone said battery low, so I don't think it recorded that. So,
All right. Oh, boo! We got it on YouTube at least.
Yep.
With that, man, because I think we can keep going for a
yeah.
while, but I do want to move to one. Let's close out, Mike, with your game. You want to do that?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Which we're gonna move to. You know, this is
One
coming
word
though.
Association.
One word ass.
Yeah, baby.
So basically, what I'm gonna do here is I threw a little spin on it here. Got kind of the legends, current stars, and even some of the women, all legends and current. And to throw in, I think this will be a first for us. I even threw in some local.
Oh, nice.
I think this would be perfect.
I like it.
You're going to have to help me with this, Mike.
Okay, all right, I will.
You-
If I have to, I will.
Real quick, I don't know if you want my help. I'll get us both in trouble.
I don't care.
Real quick. Though, I know most people know what the one-word association. I like the one-word ass. Anyway, it means he says a name. He's got one word. It's like, what do you think association with this? Boom. I know most people know that, but there we go.
You're an ass. Pardon my French. Can I borrow the mics for this?
Yeah,
one?
man.
Sure. You don't mind?
Actually, speaking of which, my back teeth are floating.
Okay.
I was gonna wait until we were done, but I'm gonna go now,
All right.
and I can still hear you too.
Yeah.
Okay. So here we go. All right, we're going to start with PBA.
Okay.
One word association. I mean, you can come up with two if you have to. It's
Okay.
fine. Norm Duke.
Classy.
Okay.
Classy is what I would use for Norm. Everything I've ever seen from Norm, just to expound upon that a little bit, his approach to the game is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing, again, that I'm trying to incorporate more into my game is that approach to kind of try to always have a smile on my face.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that I always took from Norm. He always looked happy.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
Win or lose, he smiled, very congratulatory to his opponents and the fans and everything else. So, yeah, class.
Not a lot of
Classy.
guys I see when they on the losing end, and Norm's like, you see Norm in the background, he's giving him a round of applause.
100%.
That is.
He is classy
Yeah.
across the board.
All right, Walter Ray Williams Jr. I can give you one.
Go ahead.
Adaptive. And what I mean by that is Walter Ray has went from his basic simplistic style, kind of like the Churchy of the world, and now he's rolling two-handed in regionals, and he's even shot 300 in league.
It is funny that you mentioned that because I bowled a few regionals, and in one of them in Georgia, I actually had Walter Ray on my pair, and I got to see that firsthand. It was the first time I had ever seen it because I had never seen him do it on television, obviously. I have since seen him do it in some PBA 50 telecasts that have been on YouTube and whatnot. But seeing him adapt his game to the way the current game is now is impressive because watching him play straight up the boards for so many years and then seeing him at that regional throw two-handed was mind-blowing. I had no idea that was coming. And then in game 7 of qualifying, he goes and pulls out a new ball, moves all the way to the left, and starts throwing it with two hands. And that was mind-blowing to me because I never would have thought I would have seen a legend like, Walter Ray go that direction.
Yeah.
But he did. I guess you could say he embraced where the game was going. And that was incredible to see. So
I know I came in late for that one. I'm a little uncertain, but I think that was more than one word.
it was. Well, he came up with the word.
I came up with the word. He did my help for that one.
Adapting.
All right.
Okay, here's the next one. Earl Anthony.
Ooh. Legend.
That's
Okay.
actually what I was thinking.
Legend.
All right. Bob Learn Jr.
Character.
Well,
Character.
if you was going to ask me, I would have said 300.
300, yes. Yeah.
Johnny
Little guy, too. He's short.
He is. He's a little guy, kind of like me.
Yeah.
Johnny Petraglia.
Rubber.
Yeah.
Rubber. Because I had an old Johnny Petraglia LT48 rubber ball. Fun to throw. But that's what I think of with Johnny is that.
And the last of the legends here, Parker Bone III.
Silky.
Yeah. Dude's got one of the most smoothest.
He is so smooth.
I'll even throw another word in there for you: consistent.
Yes.
He rolls it the same every like from 30 years ago to now.
Yeah.
It's like he rolls it the absolute same. Like, and you cannot hear it.
No.
And that ball touch it does. You can't even hear it.
That's one I've not ever gotten the privilege to bowl with or around, but yeah.
You might get to bowl with one of his kids, right? Doesn't he have a kid that's in regionals and stuff?
Yeah. He's got two actually that both do the regionals and Team USA and trying out their stuff in the
All right, here we go. More of the current list of stars now. Belmo.
Champion.
I would. It's kind of a compound word, but I would say game changer.
Game changer, absolutely. When I think of Belmo, I think of champion because of all of his major championship wins.
I don't think anybody's ever. Do you think anybody's ever going to touch that? Like, seriously,
I personally don't.
He's like the Tiger Woods of bowling.
It's ridiculous.
Yes, he is, and he went on a streak there for a few years. Like you bring up Tiger Woods because people forget that for that period of time, Tiger Woods for about 4 or 5 years was almost untouchable.
Yep.
I was going to say unbeatable. Yeah.
And Belmo was very much that way in major championships.
Yes.
Like it didn't matter which one it was, Masters, PBA Championship, it didn't matter. U.S. Open, you already knew he was going to be the top number one, number two. Yeah. He was going to be there on Sunday on TV.
Yeah. Doesn't he have 3 U.S. Opens?
I think those are Masters. I think it's the Masters.
I think it's 3 Masters, and I think him and Pete Weber are tied for Opens. Maybe.
I think Weber's got one more than him.
Okay,
honestly, I think Weber's got the most U.S. Opens.
Yeah, it's somewhere in there. Yeah.
Okay. EJ Tackett.
This is gonna sound bad, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
I kind of get that actually.
Yeah, I get it too.
He flies to the line, and I've seen EJ bowl in person, and it is incredible to watch. But it is very much, to me, it's very much like a squirrel. It's crazy. Like I don't understand how he's able to do what he does.
But it's as a compliment, right?
Yes. Like, I don't understand how he's able to do it. Like he is so fast, but it is very fluid. It works for him, and I'm impressed.
And the power, like how does he generate? Because he's not a big guy at all.
He's not. He's a little guy as well, and generates incredible amounts of power.
I've come up with 2. In my head, I've now come up with 2 compound words for the first 2 here from Jason and now EJ. I would call EJ a headhunter. Like that, and what I mean by that is like he is going after. Like you're going after a title.
Yeah,
he is like
he goes for it.
Like that. That's all that he sees in front of him. That's what I mean by headhunter.
Yep.
All right. Here's the next one. Kyle Troop.
I'm gonna say lovable.
Oh,
the fluffy hair, fluffy hair.
We love Troop.
The personality that he gives to the game. I love it, and that's why I'll give him the lovable.
I've had a couple people tell me about Kyle. Kyle is the what'd you just say? The lovable. It's like Belmo goat it. We know this.
Yes.
But Kyle is like the lovable goat. Potentially be the goat. He's going to be the lovable goat.
I'd agree.
And I think even if another word going back to Belmo, I would say Brady of bowling. Yeah. Well, that's 3 words, but what I mean by Brady is the fact that again, like he wins a lot. Brady won a lot.
Yeah.
So, all right.
I got on Troop. Sorry, real quick.
Go ahead.
I love him because I think he's helping to evolve the sport a lot right now. As far as I can do things. As far as evolving the game, just in the sense from the audience standpoint. You know
100%.
Like him and Packy, they love that loud noise stuff when they're throwing,
which is great. To
like,
see.
Yeah.
So I love that those 2 they're the first 2 that I think with that Troop. I just I see him like. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
With the ball. Just
his interaction with the fans is incredible.
Yeah. So maybe I'm trying to find that one word again. Charisma.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here's one I put in here. AJ Johnson.
was a very cool story. You guys didn't hear
Yeah.
it before off camera beforehand. He told us a pretty cool story.
This
I
one's
think it's cool
this one's
anyway.
tough. Because my interaction with him is, he's a nice guy, but I would say probably explosive.
Okay.
I think that would be a good, and I think people have probably seen that on TV. He gets he gets animated,
Mm-hmm.
For good or for bad.
Yeah.
But AJ's a good guy. I've met him at a couple of regionals.
You're never going to wonder how he's feeling.
You're not. No. And that's kind of what I mean by explosive.
Yeah.
He wears that emotion on his sleeve.
Yeah.
But outside of bowling, super cool, nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
Had the opportunity to meet him at a couple of different regionals.
Mm-hmm.
At one that me and my buddy Marquise went to, we actually bowled. We did not bowl well that day. Did not qualify to make Sunday, sadly, but we went to Buffalo Wild Wings after that, and we're sitting at our own table, and AJ Johnson came in with probably 5 or 6 other PBA guys that had bowled that day. All of them qualified, and AJ came in and shook our hand and talked to us because he had seen us at a regional before, and had us come over and sit with him for a little while. So that was awesome. AJ, he's a good person. I think he's good for the sport. I hope to see a lot more from him. I really do. But explosive is what I would give for him.
Simonson. Silence.
I'm gonna say asshole. But I say that because I see a lot. I've heard stories and seen a little bit of the way he acts, and it reminds me very much of me.
And he is still very young.
And he is very young. He's still he's not even 30 yet.
Mm-mm.
He is very, and I think that comes from his passion, his drive to be great.
Yeah.
And I love to see that. But yeah, asshole is the way I would go. And I don't know how he is as a person. That's what I see from his game.
I know what you mean. I was thinking something similar. Like, what's a good word that would fit? No, I agree. I think I know what you're saying. That's Branson's favorite, and he actually got to FaceTime with Simo for like 30 seconds at the Bob Miller thing. Yeah,
awesome.
One of the guys.
Awesome.
But with him, we were talking about will anybody ever be Bomo's thing, dude. Simo, he's in his 20s, like we talked about, and the numbers he's already got.
Yep.
That dude's gonna be like he's already Hall of Fame easy.
Yeah.
No, it's just ridiculous.
Yep.
Last one of the current stars, TJ, Tommy Jones.
Oh, he's right on the border of legend.
He is.
Well, he's a Hall of Famer.
I know. He bowled a perfect game after that.
Yeah.
Tommy Jones is always my favorite. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're
I'm not gonna
good.
step on your stuff at all.
No, you're good. Matter of fact, if you got a word for him, Mike, go ahead.
Tommy.
I don't necessarily. I'm solid.
Evolution.
I could agree with that. I could agree with that.
I mean, he's the only guy I know that won a major using a 3-step approach on one lane and his regular approach on the other lane to win the U.S. Open.
That's pretty sweet. And my kid Branson, he throws back a ball for his primary.
Okay.
Right? I don't know if you've seen
Yes.
it, but you know exactly what we're talking about.
I've not watched your kid bowl.
He loves to do that's his primary ball.
Okay.
Right? Right-handed, and boom, he loves to do that.
Well, back up. Yeah.
Yes. But then if he leaves a spare on the left side, he'll just throw a conventional boom and hit it like that, right? I hate the primary. We've been dealing with it for several years now, actually. But I saw Simo do that, like exactly what you talked about. Total different, and because they're two different patterns. So on one lane, he's throwing backup ball on that lane. I saw that. I'm like, damn. Of course, I saved it and I showed Branson.
That's
like,
talent.
You can do it, but I'm trying to get him to understand. It's like he's using it as a tool in his toolkit, not his primary.
I didn't write this name down, but I'm going to say it anyway. Robert Smith.
Revs.
I was going to say something along the lines, but I will say it. Before there were 500 revs, there was Robert Smith.
Robert Smith, that's right.
Like, that's why they called him Maximum Bob for reason.
Yes.
And the thing about it is, if you've seen any of his videos on YouTube, testing out like a couple of new hammer balls,
oh, it's insane.
He is still putting that amount of rev, the amount of torque, the amount of power. It's like he hasn't lost a step in 20 years. And it is incredible. So I just want to throw that out.
Yeah.
All right, let's go through quickly here with the women, okay? Michelle Feldman. Everybody knows Michelle is the first woman to shoot 300 on television.
You heard it here.
If you want me to pick a word,
Yeah,
I'll pick a word.
Pick a word.
I'm going to say, well, it's 2 letters, but I'm going to say OG because she used to put the torque on it. That some of these, no, seriously, she used to put the torque on the ball that some of these girls are doing. Like some of these girls are doing now.
Raising.
But Michelle, no, seriously, but Michelle was the originator of that.
Yeah.
She was the one that you would watch her, and this is like late 90s, and she's hooking
I was
the
gonna
whole
say
lane.
that's not a name that I'm 100% familiar with.
Yeah.
That's why I was kind of drawing a blank.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Okay, you won't draw a blank with this one now. Liz Johnson.
Ooh. Consistent.
Yeah. I would almost give her legend for the women.
Yes.
I would almost.
I would, but what I take from Liz Johnson is consistency.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Karen Doran Ballard, CDB. You know the first word that comes to my mind? Passionate.
Yeah.
She shows it on the lanes.
She does.
I don't know what you would, but I say passionate.
Yeah. Passionate
Okay.
works.
Okay. All right, some of the more current ones. Liz Colkin.
Liz Copeland. That's the one who shot big sets with
The Scandal Pearl.
Scandal Pearl.
Mm-hmm. Well, daggum, Jason, if she was a lefty, she'd have shot 920. If I had to put one word with Liz Colkin, I'm going to say, underrated. She is very underrated. Like she is like solid.
I would have to give you that.
Yeah.
Just based on what she did with that one ball in particular, the Scandal Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
What, 880 and then another
880,
week,
890 in like a matter of 3 or 4 weeks.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And you don't do that without being extremely good.
Yeah.
But
and I mean she's got the pedigree. She came from Nebraska.
Yeah.
And I mean we know all about that. All right, next one up, Daria.
She was the first woman that I saw really, really, really swing the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Power. From a woman's perspective, power is what I see from her.
Yeah.
She does it gracefully, but power is what I see from her because the way she throws the ball, I had not seen a female throw it before.
Yep.
I was very accustomed to seeing men throw the ball that way, and she is very powerful for a female.
If it was me, I was going to say happy.
Yeah, and she is.
She's always smiling.
Yes, she is always
and
smiling.
I can tell you, if anything else, one of the most attractive features on a woman is they're smiling all the time.
100%.
And she is like, and not only that, I'll say like this, she's loved. Like everywhere she goes.
Yeah.
With overseas, especially because she's from Poland, but everywhere she goes, she's loved because she smiles all the time and she's happy. So, all right, 2 more here, and then we're going to go to the locals. Verity.
I've bowled a couple of regionals with Verity. I don't know of a good word to associate with her, though, off the top of my head. She's another one that's perpetually smiling.
Yes.
She is another.
One word I'll say, encouraging.
Yeah, that would work.
Encouraging.
She is perpetually smiling, and she's always willing to talk to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. And Diana Zavajalova.
Zavialova.
Yeah. Or Zavi, as they call her.
Yeah, that's.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like the first time I saw her on TV, like that was a crush right there. I was like, holy cow! And not only that, it's good how she can roll the rock. So
she can. Yeah. She's another one of those big swingers as a woman. Big swinger of the ball.
So I'll pick one word. I'll say fierce. She's pretty fierce on the lanes. Okay.
Fierce. I'd agree
All
with
right.
that.
All right, here we go in the last part of ours here, okay? Locals here in Huntsville.
This is dangerous.
Yes, this could be dangerous.
All right, Churchy. Goat.
Goat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Goat. For this area, 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Kyle Harris. Please, because I'll probably agree with you. I mean, if you want to pass it off to me, I will, because I'll say it all in dude love.
Yeah, I don't know of a good word. That's the problem.
All right, fine. I'm going to use 2 words here. Smart ass.
Smart ass. That's fair.
I love you, buddy.
He's goofy.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. There's your word. Goofy. All right.
I love Kyle.
All right. Michael Weber.
Technical.
Yes. Yes.
Technical.
Okay. I'll go one. You went nice. I'm going nice because I love you, Weber. Mathematical.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Salazar.
I didn't know he had surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah, he's doing good. He's recovering well, he said. So
Okay.
he's not thoroughly enjoying his rehab, but
Salazar.
we're going to give Salazar. I like this one. I'm going to give credit to this one to another local bowler, Ron J. Johnson. Area.
Okay.
Area.
Okay. You know what he means by area?
No.
It means Chris can play it just about on any part of the lane.
And so the word with him, I've got to bowl with him a couple times.
Yeah.
He's a sub on our league.
Yeah, okay.
Is just smooth.
Yeah, I'll give
He's
you
one
that.
of those. One of you guys said it. I forget who, but like referring to somebody earlier, you never hear the ball, right? And he looks like he's just casually strolling up to the lanes,
Yeah.
almost like he's checking the mail. You know,
Well,
like,
Yeah.
and then
Well,
boom, it's
Dustin,
on. And
you know, that's the way it's always been, man.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. We got Johnny here, man.
I love Sal.
Johnny, just absolutely incredible, man.
I
Just
love
incredible way you love the ball. It's great, man. It's great. All right, here you go. Your buddy, AJ.
Oh, firecracker. Firecracker.
My one word, sarcasm.
Oh, Jesus. You're not wrong.
No, yeah, you ain't met AJ yet. That's his
Yeah.
teammate.
He is a firecracker.
Yeah.
He is very much like me, but with a shorter fuse.
Is he younger than you?
No, he's my age or a year
Yeah,
older.
uh-huh.
Should know better. Shorter view.
Yeah, firecracker.
Dude, let me tell you, funny story. When I first started talking to Johnny, we were like I said, we were getting to know each other on a friendship level that was like for the ages. Like I said, one of my best friends you are. I said, when you meet my buddy AJ,
Yep.
you're gonna totally understand
Mhm.
why I refer to you and AJ. And
Yeah.
now they're like two peas in a pod, you know.
Yep.
And the last one on the list here, Mr. Jeff Heath.
I haven't seen
Oh
either one.
man, what do I give for Jeff? Jeff's my teammate. We have a lot of fun.
I'll tell you what I got for him. It's not one word, but I call him the one game wonder. Only guy I know can go 300, 180.
No. You know somebody else who can do that too, Mike.
No, not as much as him.
I did it 5. Well, never mind.
No. That means he did it 10. I love you, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Jeff has at this point I would give him I would say for me mentor.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what Jeff has become to me a little bit here over the past year or so.
I just came up with something here, okay? For Jeff Heath. It's when they were asking Kevin Nash one word association with all like the wrestlers in the business, and he came across Scott Hall. It's something I feel like you would say about Heath. A lovable.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that would be great.
Oh, Jeff has the capability to be lovable asshole. He fits right in with that team that I'm talking about. Me, Jeff, and AJ.
Yeah.
We're 3 peas in a pod.
Yeah.
We really are. So.
Back to you, buddy.
It's a nasty pee.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You close it out, my friend. I'm gonna go back here. And
All right. Thank you, everybody. Whether you're here part of the time, the whole time, or you watch it in the future, we appreciate it. Thank you so much we finally got to have Johnny on the show.
Enjoyed it.
A friend of the show. Again, when he said that, I was like, why haven't we had him on yet? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Schedule. But that's phenomenal. Freaking 847 a couple weeks ago, 2 300s in a row, you bastard. 16 total. Yeah, you guys are like, I hadn't been a couple months in the cotton perfect. You know what I mean? Just show up and go through at 300. No, I loved it. I'm breaking my own balls more than that. You know what I mean? How much I suck. But no, it's been a great show, man. We talked about a lot of good stuff. And we could keep going easily, I think. But unfortunately, have to go do my parent duties and everything.
I understand.
And I think the alley's going to be closing before too long. But Curtis, hope you're doing better. You should have been here with us.
Yeah, Curtis, we missed you
We
today,
hope you're
sir.
still alive. If you died, let us know.
I don't know how that's gonna work, but
I ain't gonna wake up dead.
We'll figure it out.
But no, we sincerely thank everybody for supporting the brand, watching the show, everything you've done, and the people that come on. We appreciate everybody. This is a lot of fun for us. It's a lot of work, but it's a work of love. I mean, it really is. We wouldn't be doing this if we didn't want to. You know what I mean? So we appreciate you coming in.
Yep.
Mike, you did a great job on the table, by the way. I love this. So like Michael said earlier a little bit, and I'm doing Curtis's job for him again, but like, follow, subscribe. We've got TikTok is a big one. We're doing TikTok and YouTube. That's what we're live on right now. But we are also slinging stuff up on Instagram and Facebook still. And one thing we did not mention, I wanted to touch on before we left on the state of DGAB, was the educational series that we're doing. I'm very proud of that. I like doing that. Have you got to see the first 2 episodes of that yet?
Yeah.
Oh, you were here when we were filming.
I
Oh, man.
would, yeah.
So yeah, we've got 4 of them posted, right? And they are pinned to the TikTok account. So go to the Damn Good Average Bowler TikTok. They're going to be pinned up there. I really like the educational series because what we're doing, I think there's going to be 13 episodes to build your overall bowler profile because there's so much to it, right?
Yeah.
And each one of these is a separate segment completely. We filmed 5 and 6 last time. 6 went well.
6 went well.
5
5 was a cluster. You know what?
well,
Cluster bomb?
it
Yeah.
was a little bit, but it's a lot of new things we hadn't done yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're again, we like to evolve too. We want to get better.
When Curtis is a part of the process, our one take Tony is like over $1 million.
There should be a good blooper reel out of it though. If you put another one together, I love the blooper reels.
Yeah.
Expletive.
But we are reworking those. We're still working on the educational series. 6 is complete. We just need to rework 5. We had to take the thing that we made, wad the clay back up, and throw it back on the thing. We're starting again with it. I think we know we have a better idea of what we're doing. It's probably going to be a 2-parter actually, because you saw it. You saw what we were doing. We're like, oh yeah, that's going to be a long one.
Yeah.
Proper fit and grip, correct?
But it'll be good. It'll be good. Important. Remember, we talked about that earlier.
Yes, yes, we did. So that's where we're at the educational series. I did want to chime in on that for sure because that's one of my favorites that we're doing because we're playing it straight, meaning like when we did this too, it's conversation and everything.
Yeah.
But like, no kidding, we have a freaking expert in the field.
Yeah.
And I can talk, okay, but we're getting the information to you from this guy to become better.
Yeah.
Period. I mean, people pay for crap like that. I don't mean crap. You know what I mean?
I'm just a house hack.
Oh, please.
Average bowler.
Yeah.
That's all I am.
Yeah. That's all you'll ever be.
Damn good one.
There you
No,
go.
but I'm very proud and very excited to be a part of everything, but especially that one.
Yeah. As Michael would say with regard to that, he says he doesn't know much, but he knows bowling.
Yeah.
So trust him on it.
Yes. Yeah. For sure. Again, thank you guys, Johnny. Thank you one more time.
Yes. Thank y'all for having me.
Absolutely. Wonderful job. Thank you, everybody out there. And we will catch you on the
Flippity flip.
There it is.
Later, guys.
See ya. I don't like that at all. I want to do that. I saw you kind of do the pieces.
Yeah.
That's where my hands were. I was like, ew, this is gross.
What do I do with my hands?
Yeah. Car drove real good.
Well, car drove good.
Yeah.
What do I do with my hands?
Overproduction.
Stupid monkey. I watched an episode